Hey, welcome into Next Man Up on this fine reaction Monday morning. I guess you could call it. It may or may not. Actually, it is. Be brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. As you can tell, no, I am not Jake Lyman. He is off calling the hoopsketball this morning. So he's called in some backup. And by he, I mean Chase McCabe. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier here with you today. America's favorite combo. Jake Lyman's exes, I guess you could say.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. How are you, Frazier?
Fantastic. I don't know if you saw this or not, but Jake Lyman did a little bit of swimming this past Friday on
Did
the
he?
SEC Network. Yeah.
Did he?
You have to go back and look at that on ESPN Plus. But
What's his nosedive look like?
I don't know, but man, he would look pretty spiffy on that broadcast. It was pretty good. The weekend was great. We had our show Saturday, which had a lot of great ratings. Everybody loves that show, Weekend Huddle. But
Highest in Nashville on Saturday morning.
Crazy weekend of just football in general. NFL. I mean, we have college tonight, but just the amount of storylines. Obviously, recently, McDermott's out with Buffalo, so
we're going to talk about that.
Fantastic. Told you earlier I was recognized over at Discount Tires. Appreciate those guys. They listen to the station all the time. They said, "Here's your car, Dr. Coran." I was like, "Well, thank you."
Yeah.
So
what kind of? Here's a Maserati.
I wish
on us.
I had to just get my tire plugged. So
well, let's get right into it. Sean McDermott out as the Buffalo Bills head coach. Obviously, championship weekend is set between the Patriots and Broncos on the AFC side and the Seahawks and Rams in an NFC West battle, ironically, for the NFC championship, the third in a trilogy. We'll talk about those games later on, but Sean McDermott out as the Buffalo Bills head coach. And look, I think a little bit went into that firing. Obviously, your quarterback couldn't hold on to the ball in Josh Allen. There was a little bit of a ref job near the end. That was absolutely a catch. But look, when you go 0-7, or what was it, 1-7 on the road in playoff games over the last few years, you're bound to get fired eventually. So obviously, I think I understand why. My question is, today is a big day for the Tennessee Titans in terms of the head coaching search. You've got your three finalists, allegedly: Robert Saleh, Jeff Hafley, Matt Nagy. How much of a wrench do you think this throws into the Titans' plans? If you're the Titans, are you looking at this and saying, maybe we can put this on hold and talk to Sean McDermott? Because to me, I think he quickly climbs to maybe the top coaching prospect available. Not even prospect, just candidate.
Yeah, it definitely climbs up the ladder of candidates for the Titans. Now, Robert Saleh is supposed to be in the building today. It depends on when that time is. But if Saleh leaves the building today and there's nothing that's been put to pen to paper at all, then yeah, I think this definitely has a little bit of merit to it. But as for right now, I look at it as another name in the coaching pool. And I don't know if maybe McDermott wants to take a break, just like Tomlin. Yeah. You never know. It just depends on the situation. Again, it's a young quarterback, a young offense that's slowly developing, and there's some core pieces on the defensive side of the ball for the Titans that you could say, yeah, maybe you can build a defense around this team with Jeffrey Simmons, T'Vondre Sweat. You add Cedric Gray to the conversation, and then Cody Barton. So I don't know. This is a possibility, but I'm just going to hold off for right now.
I was fully prepared to come into this morning and preach Robert Saleh propaganda, which Parker would have probably come after me for some reason. I'm going to hold off on that right now because I think it's at least worth having a conversation with Sean McDermott. Maybe you don't bring him in, but at least bring him in for an interview, right? Like I'm not saying he's the best coach around of all time. Like he's no Bill Parcells or Bill Belichick or what have you, but he's a notable candidate. He's a candidate that comes in here with a better resume than all three of your finalists, one of which has never been a head coach before. So I think it's at least worth trying, and I think that's a guy that you could hire and he'd be capable of bringing in a really good staff as well. I'm not saying they should put all their chips in the middle, throw out these three finalists and just go all in on Sean McDermott, because I'm sure there are other teams around the league thinking, oh, we can bring him in. The Ravens, the Steelers, Miami's probably not going to get that. I think they're going to get Jeff Hafley, but there are other teams around the league that are not the Titans that are capable of putting all their chips in the middle. It's happened to you twice now with John Harbaugh and Kevin Stefanski. So it could totally happen to you again. I would jump on this. I would see, I'd call him right now. Hey, Sean, have you gotten cleared out yet? Because we'd like to have an interview with you later today.
Is your desk fully in the cardboard box you brought it in?
Right.
Just curious.
You might as well. I mean, We'd love to have you here in Nashville. So, look, I'm not saying send the house on him, but I am saying I think it's worth having a conversation with him. The worst he can say is no. It's like talking to a woman. The worst she could say is no. So, I wouldn't put all the chips in the middle on him. I would still keep in contact with your 3 finalists because, you've done extensive research on them. You've kind of let them on this far, but at the same time, when a coach like that, who's coached a top quarterback and a top team in the NFL, becomes available, again, not saying that he's this generational coach, but at the same time, it's a coach I think deserves to have a conversation. So that's kind of where I stand on that.
Yeah, I'm a tad bit hesitant when it comes to Sean McDermott, and you look at the Buffalo Bills team, how much of that was masqueraded by Josh Allen's performances. Again, it kind of follows under the Matt Nagy 2.0, I guess, assumption of coaching. How much has Matt Nagy's success been masqueraded by Patrick Mahomes as of recent years? Now, nonetheless, I get it. He had the time in Chicago, coach of the year, all that with Mitchell Trubisky. I get that. But you look more at the recent years rather than the years prior to that. And so that's why I'm a little hesitant when it comes to, Sean McDermott. Again, probably a phenomenal coach. Don't get me wrong. It's just that is a little hesitation I have.
He's a good coach. I mean, the Bills were competitive every single year. He's capable of hiring a good staff. I mean, look at how Josh Allen's developed. It's because of the staff that McDermott hired. But at the same time, I view him as kind of like, I mean, I guess a good comp right now of active coaches would be Matt LaFleur, a guy that's capable of doing well in the regular season, hiring a good staff, and then gets to the playoffs and just can't quite get over the hump. And maybe that's because McDermott needs a refresh. Maybe he needs a new team. But look, I think he's a good coach. I wouldn't just send everything I got out on him, but I would have a conversation. And I would, keep your 3 that you have, keep them in the loop, of course, because this is a coaching search and you want to get this hire right. In fact, you need to get this hire right. But McDermott, I think, is a guy who could be somewhat transformative of a bad franchise. Again, not a generational talented coach, but I think he's proven that he can hang with some of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, that's fair. That defense yesterday or the day before when it was the Bills versus the Broncos, you put up 30 points and still can't win a football game. It's a little concerning. And again, you could say it was on Josh Allen's shoulders as what lost the game. You look at that defense as well. When you allow 33 points, and of course it went to overtime, but that's a defense that is not getting any younger. And again, they didn't really supplement much on the defensive side of the ball to really go for a deep, deep run, if that makes sense.
615-737-1025. Let's get to some of your texts on this. Our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Chip in Mount Juliet and I are just on the same brainwave. He says, quote, McDermott equals LaFleur. Coaches who have peaked at their teams, LaFleur should have been gone. Also, McDermott needs a refresh with a new team. Look at that. I mean, great minds think alike, I would say. 2181 says all coaches' performance based on the players they have. Yes, but, some overachieve. Look at Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, I wouldn't say has elite talent across the board. He's got some elite players. Drake May, Stephon Diggs, Ramondre Steve. Maybe he's not elite, but he's a good running back.
Yeah.
He's got elite players. He doesn't have elite talent, at least not to the level that the Bills had, and the Patriots beat the Bills.
I mean, look at DeMario Douglas yesterday. Had the first touchdown of the game, and that's a
Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah, those both are role player wide receivers. So it goes to the look. I know we're getting more of the AFC and NFC matchups from yesterday, but I want to give Mike Vrabel his flowers just a little bit. You bring in a coach to New England who knows the identity of that franchise, but then you grab onto you have one of the worst schedules or last place schedules that is going into the following season, and he capitalized on it. You can't say the guy was not a bad coach because he's a pretty darn good coach. He understood the situation that New England was going into, and he capitalized on it.
Mike says Josh Allen's performances. What do you mean the performance of never making it in the game or never making it, putting the game in your hands and then losing it? Josh Allen sucks. I mean, that's a former MVP, so I don't know what you're insinuating by that. I do agree on some level. The performance of Josh Allen Saturday, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I think that plays a heavy factor into the firing of Sean McDermott, but I would not say Josh Allen sucks. I mean, everyone here that's a Titans fan would love to have Josh Allen as their quarterback.
Yeah, he just had some situational, I guess, mishaps. I think it was the beginning of the second half and before the first half was over.
Yeah.
He had a fumble. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, got knocked out with his hand, and he threw a couple picks here and there. But again, I think he's got to step away and not play hero ball. You just have to be a game manager. And that's what he tried. He tried to go above and beyond being a game manager,
Right.
unfortunately.
7621 says a good coach puts your team in positions to win and lets the players have a chance compared to a bad coach more times than not. Agreed. And that's what we're saying here. And I think if you were to give Sean McDermott a shot, again, I'm not saying Titans go out and hire him yesterday, but I do think he's a good coach. I do think he would help give this team an opportunity to win. And I do think the Titans should consider giving him a look. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier with you, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game National Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We'll continue this conversation. Again, Sean McDermott fired by the Buffalo Bills after their playoff loss to the Denver Broncos on Saturday. Should the Titans consider hiring Sean McDermott or at least throwing him in the head coach search conversation? We'll continue that on the other side right here on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. The Game Nashville Sports Network is your home for the College Football National Championship. Tonight, catch all the action on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan as number 10 Miami takes on number 1 Indiana. College Football National Championship coverage on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Parman Tractor and Equipment. Welcome back in. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman out today calling hoopsketball over. I'd have to look up where Vanderbilt women play. It's probably bad advertisement by me. But Connor Newton, Nick Frazier here with you on this Monday, reacting to some of the things that
Michigan, by the way.
Michigan. Are they here?
1:30. 1:30. No,
they're
Michigan.
in Newark.
Yeah.
New Jersey.
They're in Newark, New Jersey.
That's right. I knew that. Yeah. I'm bad at this whole advertising thing. Anyways, we're reacting to some of the news coming out from the NFL this morning as the Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. I told you during the break, I'm like Derrick Henry. I'm really stuttery at the start of the show, and then once I get the ball more,
you'll hit your stride. You'll be good.
I hit my stride. But we're taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Let's get to some of your texts on should Sean McDermott be considered a candidate for the Tennessee Titans. Cole in Nashville says, you guys are forgetting that McDermott's situation was exactly what the Titans are now. Rookie QB, bottom dwellers of the league. Why are we criticizing a coach that made the playoffs 8 of 9 years? He didn't get over the hump in the Super Bowl. Okay, that's not on us. We have to focus on winning more than 4 games in a year. We should be all in on Sean McDermott. I'm not criticizing Sean McDermott for not, getting to a Super Bowl. This is just how this league works. If you don't get over the hump at a certain point, you're going to be canned, especially with the talent that you have. You have a generational quarterback helming your team. If you can't get over the hump with him, and granted, I know he put the ball in a lot of bad places the other day, but if you can't get over the hump with him, chances are you're probably going to lose your job at some point. And unfortunately, that is today. So, that's a separate conversation from should the Titans go all in on him? And I wouldn't say go all in, but I think it's at least worth having a conversation. The bottom line is McDermott, I can understand why he was fired. I'm not saying he deserves to be fired. I'm just saying I understand why it happened.
Yeah, the circumstance. Like I was just telling you before the show, like if you go back and look at Sean McDermott's post-game press conference after the loss to the Broncos this past weekend, he was vouching for I stand with Buffalo. This is a game that should have been ours. I stand with Buffalo. Like that was his last playing cry of saying I want to be this team's head coach going forward.
Yeah,
and it just didn't work out that way. Again, you're right. It's the circumstance. It's the situation that I guess you could say Josh Allen put him in. Would you say? Would you kind of put that on the shoulders of him a little bit?
Yeah, I think there are factors. Josh Allen plays a key factor. You gave up 30 points to the Denver Broncos. Look, I know they're the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they're a good offense, but on paper, I think from top to bottom, the Buffalo Bills have a better roster than the Denver Broncos. So you gave up 30 points, and your quarterback couldn't come through when you needed it most, although that was absolutely a catch at the end, but disregard. Bottom line is they lost that game, and the coach is fired now, and I think there are going to be a lot of teams jumping at the idea of hiring him.
If there's any other team minus the Titans that would go after Sean McDermott in this coaching cycle, what team do you see that being?
I think I like the Pittsburgh Steelers to go after him. That seems like a kind of move they would make. Just a guy with success over a sustained amount of years, and they don't usually get to do these coaching searches very much, so it would make sense if they went after him. The one that interests me is the Ravens. Would he be willing to jump across from one team that he couldn't get over the hump with a former MVP quarterback to another team that can't get over the hump with a former MVP quarterback? Would he be willing to do that? I don't know. I feel like he would be better suited to take a lesser job. And I don't think it's any secret to say that the Ravens job is a better opening than the Titans job. That's not a hot take. I think he would be better suited for a change of scenery. And whether that's the Titans or Miami or the Steelers or what have you, I think he would be better suited to come into a new situation with a completely new style of play and a completely new front office and see how it goes from there.
Maybe. I look at that Ravens job. You make a great point about it. I think it's a vulnerable position for that that division in general, the AFC North. You look at the Steelers, they're still in question of if Rodgers will come back, and everybody knows that's up in the air. The Bengals, not sure what Joe Burrow's mental headspace is like right now, and if they can get something meshing with that Bengals team. You never know. And the Browns, again, no head coach. They're still going through the same cycle as the Titans. You wonder what that goes for. But McDermott, I think, would fit well with that Ravens identity, and they could take advantage of a lackluster division.
Yeah, I think he's the kind of coach that just about everyone would jump after. So, look, if you're the Titans, I think it's at least worth having a conversation with him. Justin Greenbrier says, I'm not excited about these finalists. Bring in McDermott, for crying out loud. At least pick his brain before you choose your buddy in Nagy or Saleh. The other dude has used you for leverage. He ain't coming here. I believe he's referring to Jeff Hafley, who I would agree. I think he's using you as leverage to go to Miami. Or maybe Buffalo. Maybe he says, hey, I'd like to beat up on the Miami Dolphins. Do you have any room for me up there? I'm stealing from Robbie and Rexroad. But as far as the Titans, I think he's right. You don't have to say, we are prepared to offer you this job and give you whatever the heck you want. They can just say, let's have a conversation. At least pick his brain, as he says, and see what interests him. See how he fits in with your franchise.
Yeah, and you make a great point looking at the candidates right now for the Titans. Yeah, it looks like Jeff Hafley will probably join Miami because you have John Eric Sullivan as the GM down there.
Yeah.
They both have that Green Bay connection.
They're buddies.
Exactly. I mean,
buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Where is he?
That's a great question. You may have triggered him to call. I don't know.
I hope so.
You look at the other two candidates. You have Saleh, you have Nagy. And again, you could say Titans fans are a little upset with the way this is all unfolded, interviewing 19 different candidates. And you follow in the, I guess, pool of the last teams to find a final hire of a head coach, because right now they were the first franchise out there that interviewed 19 guys for the same point of that. And in the end, you're left with just, two. And you wonder if one of those two will be the next one, which I think will. I don't know. This whole McDermott thing has thrown a wrench into some planning. I don't know if I'd be sold on it, but sure, he definitely entertains a conversation. Excuse me. Goodness.
I think it's worth having a conversation. Look, I'll say it again. I don't think he's this legendary coach that any team would be absolutely lucky to have. He's got a lot of work to do. Obviously, you saw that Saturday. They lost in overtime to the Denver Broncos. But that's a better finalist than any of the three you have. Again, I was prepared to come in here and give you Robert Saleh propaganda, but this has thrown a wrench in that. I think I would be most happy if they hired Sean McDermott, least happy if they hired Matt Nagy. I think that's the general consensus across the fandom.
Yeah, I'm just in the more camp of hire a defensive head coach and then go find a competent offensive coordinator that will supplement this offense for the Titans. Because right now, what the Titans need is structure, and it starts on the defensive side of the ball. When you can find structure and build around the pillars that you have, that's solely what you really need right now, because you can find an OC somewhere that can give you the production you need on offense. Because if I'm a head coach currently in this free agent head coaching pool, I'm more attracted to what needs to be done, and that is building on defense. And there is more defensive coaches for me that see this Titans job appealing than an offensive coach like Matt Nagy.
Matt on the text line says, if Matt Nagy is such a good prospect, then why are other teams interviewing him? I don't understand. He actually is getting interviews. The Ravens spoke to him about being a head coach. I believe the Browns spoke to him about being the head coach. So he is getting interviews. That said, he is definitely last on my, rankings of who should be the Titans head coach. I wouldn't be like some of you and just, hate the world and absolutely hate the hire. I would try to find the positives in that, but I do think, there are some things that outweigh the positives of hiring Matt Nagy. Matthew in Nashville says, Saleh is not a bad hire. Not sure why that upsets so many Titans fans. Agreed, including our producer gets very upset about that, but that is neither here or there. 2501 says, for Titans standards, McDermott is the belle of the ball, boys. Who even wants to be part of the bad news Bears?
Yeah, you could say he's the belle of the ball. Everybody has their belle of the ball. Everybody has their Cinderella pick. So, to you, it may be the belle of the ball. For me, I'm hesitant on it. So, again, I can't agree to that. It's all opinionated.
Yeah, it's objective. It's whatever you feel. I wouldn't say he's the absolute belle of the ball like John Harbaugh was, but, he's a good coach. And I would consider thinking about bringing him in
And I'm sure
for an interview at least.
John Harbaugh is probably looking at this coaching carousel thinking, did I sign too early?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're John Harbaugh, you think, I could do something with Josh Allen. I did something with Lamar Jackson for the most part. Couldn't get to the ultimate goal, but I could probably take an MVP quarterback somewhere.
2501 says you took an unknown, mostly inaccurate prospect in Josh Allen and made him one of the best QBs in the NFL. I think some of that is Brian Daboll.
Yeah, don't forget about that guy.
But largely you are correct. So it does make me wonder. And again, we're getting way ahead of ourselves right here. If Sean McDermott, in the slight possibility he becomes the Titans head coach, what would he do for Cam Ward? How would he develop that? Because that's a defensive guy, right?
Yes, he is.
So I think that's why you got to factor in Brian Daboll into this conversation.
And it brings in the conversation that I just mentioned earlier, the statement of when you find a defensive coach, you go find a competent offensive coordinator that can supplement the work you need. And right now, it does seem like a Brian Daboll. What if there is a McDermott Daboll reuniting of connection here in Nashville? That'd be something.
615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to weigh in on the conversation. Preds fans, Smashville Live is back this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on 1025 The Game, live from Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue. Meet your Predators players up close and personal and also get autographs and pictures. That's this Wednesday night at Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue and only on 1025 The Game. We'll step aside, come back. When we come back, I want to talk about the Patriots, and I want to talk about Mike Vrabel. Let's go into the hypothetical rabbit hole. Let's say Amy Adams-Strunk never fires Mike Vrabel. Would the Titans have ever competed on the level that the Patriots are right now again? We'll get to that conversation on the other side right here on Next Man Up. Again, Connor Newton, Nick Frazier filling in for Jake Lyman today right here on 1025 The Game. I'm sorry. Are we doing White Girl Monday? Is that
we got to make up for Friday since you weren't here?
Yeah, we do. We do. Although it did follow me to DVD somehow.
It's kind of a blend. It's not necessarily white girl music, but we're kind of bordering over there, you know?
It's acceptable. I'll tell you that much.
Miami nightclub music.
Yeah, there we go. Speaking of Vanderbilt women's basketball, which I did a terrible job of advertising earlier, let me correctly advertise it this time. 94.9 The Fan is your home for Vanderbilt women's basketball. Today, the Commodores take on Michigan at 1:30 p.m. and pregame begins at 1:15 p.m. Again, over on 94.9 The Fan. That is why Jake Lyman is out today. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly in with you today. A couple more thoughts to kind of tie together this Sean McDermott conversation, and maybe we can get into this later. We got 2 more hours. So everything is open to the table on this Reaction Monday. Let's see. 2501 says 98-50 regular season record, 8-8 in the postseason. Comparatively speaking, the belle of the ball. I think comparatively speaking, yes. Comparatively speaking to the 3 finalists that you have coming in here in Sala, Matt Nagy, and Jeff Hafley, yes, that is a much better record than the 3. Now, you also got to factor in that one of them has never been an NFL head coach, and the other 2 haven't been NFL head coaches in 2 to 3 years. But you are correct, comparatively speaking.
Yeah. I mean, look, you could say the same thing about Harbaugh. He had a 13-11 playoff record in 12 seasons. So, in 12 appearances in the playoffs. So that's something to give a factor into as well. He was the belle of the ball when it came to the free agent head coaches. So, yeah, you could say McDermott is that second guy. But again, I don't think he is per se. It's just maybe Buffalo, might be regretting this. You never know.
I think they made the wrong decision.
Maybe. I don't know. I look at this as who do you hire next? That's the big issue is who follows McDermott in Buffalo.
I would consider doing an in-house interview with your offensive coordinator.
Okay.
I would consider Brian Daboll just because I know the relationship he and Josh Allen have.
There's a lot of familiarity there for sure.
I would consider Mike McCarthy, but he's got Pittsburgh Steeler written all over him. It depends on, this is the conversation the Titans had, right? Do you want to go with the experienced head coach that you could plug in and probably win now? Or do you want to go with the next up-and-coming, probably offensive guy, just because you fired a defensive guy, and try to help your quarterback get over the hump? I think there are, arguments to have on either end.
Yeah, there are. And, if you talk about the Titans here for a second, I look at it as the Titans were adamant and they'd match whatever the Giants were going to put for Harbaugh, go on a plane and talk to him, whatever. That's that point. And then the next one is, we're going to find the next head coach of this franchise that's going to set us over the hump, that's going to get us to where we want to be. Again, it's almost, what are you waiting on? Mm-hmm. Because if it's the McDermott thing now, if that's their new, I wouldn't say excuse, but their new, I guess, hesitation to hire somebody, then I understand it. But at the same time, I really don't. Because I would rather see a Robert Saleh jump in and say, hey, I have a direction. I can develop young talent. I know what to do on defense. Again, like I said before, find an OC that can supplement stuff like that for a DC head coach.
All right, so I want to dive into this conversation, and I realize we're going to go down such a hypothetical, but
love it.
It gets the people going, as they say in Blades of Glory. Let's say Amy Adams-Strunk never fires Mike Vrabel. Obviously, the Patriots are headed to the AFC Championship. Mike Vrabel has had a dream season in his first year in New England. Mm-hmm. I think he's had kind of a golden gateway to get there. But regardless, he's in the AFC Championship playing a backup quarterback. If Amy Adams-Strunk decides we're not going to fire Mike Vrabel, we're going to give him another year, does he put the Titans in this position ever again? Are the Titans ever in an AFC Championship ever again with him under the head coaching?
Yeah, I think 5-6 seasons down the line, sure. Because if Mike Vrabel's still the head coach here with the Titans and they somehow presumably had the number 1 overall pick and say that number 1 overall pick wasn't Cam Ward, more than likely the Titans probably would have traded back in that case, because we know Mike Vrabel is a defensive-minded guy that will probably build from the bottom up. And again, this guy wanted more power on the roster, say, and so forth. The way things were trending wasn't great. We get all that, 6-18, whatever that may be to you. But as for a guy in Mike Vrabel that if eventually possibly stayed with the Titans, I think it would have taken about 5-6 seasons.
I don't think it would take him that long. I think he could get him back within 2 to 3 years.
Interesting.
Now, a lot had to play into factor in that, and I think you need to give him control of the roster because that was kind of the whole conversation that led him to being fired was, should I say the C word? Collaboration.
Yeah.
Him and Rand Carthon. And they didn't work well together. Now, him and John Robinson, I thought worked well together. I thought they were on the same page until, Robinson traded A.J. Brown. But the whole collaboration thing, I think, is part of Vrabel's demise. And we know this. This is a story as old as time or as old as, 2023.
Yeah, but
So,
you're seeing it now in New England. You have Harold Landry, who's been a key contributor on defense for you. You have, let's say, Robert Spillane, Jack Gibbons. I mean, there are former Titans pillars when it comes to this New England team currently. But again, you're looking at a team that's coached by Mike Vrabel that just rallies around the football. That's what I love most about a guy like that. He is a football coach primarily that will just take anybody off the practice squad and turn them into a competent football player. And that's kind of why I like and kind of mix in the head coaching search here. That's why I like Robert Saleh a little bit. Obviously,
I agree.
The 49ers lost 41-6. We get it. Seattle's a pretty darn good football team. We get that. But the fact of the matter is, Robert Saleh grabbed guys off the practice squad, grabbed guys from no man's land, young players, that is, and fielded a defense that somehow got them almost to the NFC Championship game. That speaks volumes to me, and that's why I think that is the correct direction the Titans need to make for a head coach, a guy that shows direction with the youth. And that's something that Mike Borgonzi's talked about. We want a leader that can lead a young core of guys. And again, why would you want to not hire a defensive head coach if you're the Titans? Because you make sure you solidify a guy in Jeffrey Simmons to stay here for the long haul. That just is a disservice to him. Well, why would you want to value Cam Ward over Jeffrey Simmons when on paper you said, no, we want to value Jeffrey Simmons over Cam Ward? That's what I'm frustrated with. If you're going to value a defensive player, show it. Show it in your coaching staff. Show it. Obviously, they showed it on paper, but show it on the field as well. So that's my issue. I know it kind of spiraled into something else minus Vrabel, but that's where my brain
I
kind of
agree
goes.
with you. If you want a Mike Vrabel replicator, Robert Saleh's probably your guy. That leader among men, defensive-minded. I think he's a better defensive coach than Mike Vrabel is, at least from defensive scheming points. But if you want your Mike Vrabel replacement, that's probably your guy. Let's get to some of your thoughts on if Mike Vrabel was never fired, would he have gotten this far with the Tennessee Titans? Robert says absolutely she should have never fired Vrabel. As a matter of fact, after they win the Super Bowl, she should call him and beg him to come back and pay him whatever he wants. Hell, give him partial ownership of the team. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. Mike Vrabel, I don't think, wants anything to ever do with Amy Adams-Strunk ever again.
That guy gave his Titans close to goodwill. I'm sure he's not coming back anytime soon.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Like, that's actual proof. Like, there are photos online of Mike Vrabel branded Titans pullovers, and I would probably do the same thing if I was fired. So,
I mean, it's bad blood between the both of them. I was telling you during the break. I mean, if the rumors and reports of Amy Adams-Strunk vetoing trades to New England, if there are any guys during the trade deadline for the Titans that were supposed to go there, she vetoed it. So,
yep,
it just goes to show you there is some.
It's petty.
Yeah, it's a lot of petty bad blood between those two.
I was thinking about this yesterday. Who would Amy Adams-Strunk rather be in the AFC Championship?
That game,
New England with Mike Vrabel, who she hates,
yeah,
or Houston, who she hates.
I'd probably say Houston because that's where she lives primarily. I mean, again, I get, there's a lot of bad blood there as well, but there's more. I guess the cold sore is still open with Mike Vrabel and Amy Adams-Strunk.
I mean, if he goes to the Super Bowl, can you imagine the national media dragging of the Tennessee Titans?
I'd love it, man. I would love every bit
I'd
of
love it because it'd get us ratings.
Yeah. Well, also
selfishly,
I think Mike Vrabel would join a small list. I was telling you of head coaches that have coached and played in the Super Bowl, but for the same franchise. As far as I've seen online, it's just Mike Ditka.
Really?
Yeah. That's won a Super Bowl.
One guy.
Yeah. Well, again, I have to go deep diving a little bit more, but there was Tom Flores. There was also Tony Dungy. But that's just a small list of coaches that I saw online. But again, if Mike Vrabel gets to the Super Bowl as a head coach with the Patriots, I think he is one of two head coaches that have done it with the same franchise.
All right, I'm doing some research.
Which is kind of interesting because if you look at it, I mean, that's a hard feat to really accomplish in your coaching career in general. I mean, not a lot of coaches get an opportunity to coach at a franchise that they played at and won multiple Super Bowls with. So that is it's a big factor to put into. And again, that's why I'm a big Mike Vrabel guy.
This is like a deep cut research right here.
Yeah, I had to do a little bit of
I'm
some
digging and
searching for that.
digging and digging. Hold on, I'm gonna get this. Talk for a second.
Yeah, I mean, that's typically what we
Hey,
do.
how's
Right?
your day, everyone? Yeah.
But no, continue with the Vrabel conversation of just him being the coach going forward. He understood, and again, I mentioned this a little earlier. He understood I could say the assignment with New England because again, that's a team that was 3-14 and then reversed the roles to make them 14-3 and taking them to an AFC championship game now. And the last time that New England was in an AFC championship game was 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Only one person has ever won a Super Bowl as both a player and a head coach for the same franchise. As Mike Ditka with the Chicago Bears. As a player, he won Super Bowl 6 in the 1971 season as a tight end for the Chicago Bears. And then as a head coach, he won Super Bowl 20 with the 85 Bears.
Well,
so
I was right. Okay.
Yeah, you were.
Good deal.
So Mike Vrabel could make history and be the second person in history to win a Super Bowl with his same team he played for.
And again, it goes to show you that he is a good head coach because he's been to an AFC championship game, not with New England Patriots as a coach, but with the Tennessee Titans, a team that everybody thought was a small market team that could amount to nothing. Again, the Titans have been there before, but not to this magnitude. So it just goes to show you he is a good head coach, and Amy messed up for sure.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll continue the conversation on this. If Amy Adams Strunk didn't fire Mike Vrabel, would the Titans ever be in the same situation the Patriots are in right now ever again? We'll continue the conversation on the other side right here on Next Man Up. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on 102.5 The Game. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman out today. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier in with you today on this Reaction Monday. And before everyone starts coming after me on the text line like they already are, let me clarify that this link is wrong. Mike Ditka did not win the Super Bowl 6 as a player for the Chicago Bears. So quit calling me a goober. Quit calling for my job.
Goober.
I mean, you can call me a goober. That's fine. Quit calling for my job. The link was wrong. This was 40 years before my time.
It's all right.
So I'm just reading what I'm seeing.
Yeah, no, he was an assistant coach with the Cowboys when they won the Super Bowl, and then was a player for the Cowboys as well. So
Okay. So as a head coach, if Mike Vrabel were to win the Super Bowl here, he would be the first head coach in history to win a Super Bowl as a player and as a head coach for the same franchise.
correct.
So he is on the verge of making history. I think he's capable of doing it. But I want to get back into the conversation we were just having. Let's say Mike Vrabel was never fired by Amy Adams Strong. Would he have this Titans team in the same position that the Patriots are in right now? You say within 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, 5 to 6 seasons, because right now you got to remember how the circumstances were kind of falling. I mean, it seemed like the friction between Amy Adams and Mike Vrabel were not going well.
Nick Frazier just punched his mic. Everyone take a shot.
Told you I was out to punch something today.
Like Rocky.
Yeah, I was out to punch something today.
Drago!
But no, just the fact that if Mike Vrabel did have full jurisdiction over the roster structure, this team was not trending upward. It was definitely trending downward. So you have to kind of put into factor of, give it about 3 seasons, give or take. Now, if they don't have the quarterbacks, because they had Will Levis at the time, you have Ryan Tannehill, but again, I don't know if you pay the guy per se. That's where everything kind of spirals out of, chaos, is the payment of everybody.
I think if he were to have full control of the roster like he should have had, not this collaboration garbage that they were trying to do,
right,
he would have been capable of getting them back within 1 to 2 years.
It's fair.
That's just my opinion. We'll never know because we're doing this crazy hypothetical just for the sake of conversation. But I think he is a good enough coach and a good enough roster manager to do it.
Yeah, I just give the 5 to 6 season route because it was on the trajectory, in my opinion, from a 9-8 perspective, kind of almost like the Steelers. Look, if Mike Vrabel stayed here with the Tennessee Titans, I think he would have been the next Mike Tomlin in some aspects.
Yeah.
And it was on the trajectory of that because, look, again, it was a losing season, 7-10. Wasn't your 8-9 or your 9-8s, your 8-8s back in the day. So again, I think 7-10 is the almost modern era of football right now of the 8-8s, like close to that. If you're not 8-8, you're definitely going with more of a losing record at 7-9 or something like that. Now you have that extra game, so you go 7-10. That's where I think the Titans would have headed going forward.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Merle in Mount Juliet on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, yeah, Vrabel would have gotten this Titans team back to the top, but he needed the players to do that. I think Robert Saleh would be the best fit here. The offense, as bad as they are and lacking playmakers, they put up 20 or more points. So build this defense up and hope the offense gets better year 2. I mean, I think that would require you to hire a good staff and manage your roster and your cap well. But yes, I do tend to agree with you. 2181 says no, because the roster is just too much for even the best of coaches. They are 3 great drafts away right now, I would say. But, I wouldn't say 3 great drafts. You maybe 1 or 2, but you got to remember you got the most salary cap in the league, and that could make somewhat of a difference. It's not going to completely turn you from 0 to 100, but it could help you in the long run.
Yeah, and look, talking about Robert Saleh for a quick second, you look at the way he structures the defense, and it's kind of like that around every defense in the NFL. You have to have a perennial edge rusher. And for Robert Saleh, when he was in his heyday with the 49ers, who they drafted in 2019? Nick Bosa, at the time, a perennial edge rusher in some aspects. So you surround your defense with a top young edge rusher, and you then surround it with supplemental pieces. And you have, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and the list goes on and on and on. You look currently, and again, the question was over the weekend on our Saturday show, why can Robert Saleh not develop coordinators to be good DCs or OCs or whatever it may be? People keep forgetting when he was in New York, obviously the Jets was a rough situation. You were surrounded with Aaron Rodgers, and you're just basically tuning up the band again with Devontae Adams, Allen Lazard, and you also bring in Nathaniel Hackett. Those are the Green Bay pieces for Rodgers to kind of get situated in with the Jets, right? Everybody forgets about Jeff Ulbrich. Jeff Ulbrich, where is he at right now? In Atlanta. And Atlanta
just signed a deal.
Correct. And he's being retained by Kevin Stefanski to stay on his staff for next season. So it goes to show you he can develop young talent, or I would say young talent, but coordinators, or I guess assistant coaches in this aspect, to be decent coordinators for another team. Because again, you go look at Atlanta's team right now, they had this past season 57 sacks. That's a new franchise record. It was currently 55, set back, I think, in 97. So it goes to show you he had a young edge rusher and a guy that a lot of Tennessee Vols fans are familiar with, James Pierce, coming off the edge, and you're disrupting the offensive line in that aspect. So again, that's where I look at Robert Saleh as a leader of men. He's able to develop young talent. And again, it's on the defensive side of the ball. When you have a guy like Kevin Stefanski, who's more of a, I guess, facilitator as a head coach, that's a guy that you can kind of surround your team with. And again, another case for Robert Saleh, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you're delving into the Robert Saleh propaganda I was ready to preach today, which I'm still full-heartedly believe. I mean, back into the Sean McDermott thing, a lot of it comes down to, does he actually want to consider being here?
Right.
Because ultimately it's up to the coach as well. It's not just, hey, we're going to hire you. You don't really have a choice in this. It's, does he want to be here? And, you know, I'm not going to say the Titans should just push all their chips in the middle, throw out these 3 finalists and just go all in on this guy, because I mean, that kind of just undoes your interviewing of 20,000 other people. So,
yeah. And I think the number one question would be, if the Titans were to interview a Sean McDermott, the number one question for me is, what are you going to do to fix this secondary? Because right now you're just grabbing guys off the street. And if you can't fix that, then, because look, he's a defensive minded coach. And if you're such a head coaching guru, then I think you could be able to fix something like this. And again, I'm not trying to be critical, but at the same time, that's kind of what you have to do when you hire somebody. This is a monumental head coaching pick.
Yeah.
You got to get this one right. Because if you don't, everybody says, you know, the Isaiah Wilson pick set this franchise back 5 years. If you get this head coaching hire wrong, you're setting the franchise back maybe 10 years.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just think there's a lot on the line here. And your owner is, although contrary to someone who called in the DVD with me and Adam the other day, she's not hands off. I can't believe someone said that. She's a hands off owner. She gets a really bad rep. Anyways, I mean, there's too much riding on this. Borgonzi's got to prove himself. Apparently, Chad Brinker doesn't. I'm not sure why, but a lot of stuff has to be proven through this hire. And if you don't get it right, you're right. You're going to set this franchise back even more. And I think you're going to lose fans in the process. Yeah. Fans aren't going to fill up your new stadium. Fans aren't going to care to watch your games on television or go to your games in person. Why do you think the Titans are only streaming, or not even streaming? They're only on live television in this area.
Yeah, because they're one of the worst teams in all of football.
No one cares.
Yeah, and their attendance rating went down, 9.1%, something along those lines. It just goes to show you that this fan base is dwindling. They don't want to watch a losing product year by year basis. You bring in a guy like Robert Saleh, you're going to get butts and seats.
The transfer portal is always open. Frowned upon, but always open. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Coming up next to start hour number 2, we got a national championship today, ladies and gentlemen. The Hoosiers and the Hurricanes live from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. National championship aspirations on the line. We'll break down that matchup. Who is expected? Everyone expected this matchup tonight, right? Absolutely. I mean, preseason darlings.
Number one thing on my bingo card.
Yeah, everyone knew it was coming. Who comes out on top, and some key factors for both sides on the game. We'll get to that coming up next right here on Next Man Up. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2 of Next Man Up here on 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. What are you laughing at?
I have to tell you, this is 26 minutes ago from Ari Merov. The Bills are promoting GM Brandon Beane and giving him the title of President of Football Operations and General Manager.
Look at that.
To oversee all facets of the organization, including oversight of the coaching staff.
That is now 3 presidents of football operation in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, if you're keeping track. Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills, and the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, they don't add the of operations. It's just president of football. Matt Ryan's just president of football. I don't know what that may be, but I assume it falls under the same umbrella, right? It's got to.
It's got to. I'm sure Matt Ryan is working on some cancer-curing AI models to help push that franchise forward.
You hope so. Yeah, obviously you hope so. But
if you're if you're wondering where Jake Lyman is today, he is off hiking the Himalayas. I'm just kidding. He's out over in Memorial Gymnasium. Or I'm sorry, they're in Newark, New Jersey, where it is illegal to pump your own gas. He is calling Vanderbilt women's basketball as they take on the Maize in Blue, the Fighting Wolverines of Michigan. So Connor Newt, myself, Nick Frazier himself, in for Jake Lyman today. Speaking of college athletics, we got a national championship today, boys.
8.5 hours away.
8.5 hours away. Ironically, I think 8.5 is probably the point spread on this one as well. Indiana and Miami live from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. Technically a home game for the Miami Hurricanes. If it were me, I would expect it to be about 70% Crimson.
Yeah, those Hoosier fans have been traveling everywhere this whole entire playoff, especially the Big Ten National Championship game. Everybody saw how that unfolded. They packed Mercedes-Benz. I mean, this is a fan base that's hungry for a national title. Never seen any type of success in football. So this is going to be a fun one to watch tonight. It really is.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's hard for me to get to a point where I can say Miami is going to hang in there close. I feel like Indiana is going to cover from 10 to 14 points. I can't doubt Kurt Cignetti. I think Indiana has superior talent. I mean, on paper, I think Miami has the better recruits. They have the better talent. They're a more talented team. But Indiana is just so well coached and so dominant and so prepared for every matchup they have. It's hard for me to doubt them, and honestly, hard for me to doubt that they don't cover.
Yeah, and you look at these two teams, how they match up. One, let me just delve into Indiana real quick. Instead of valuing the, I guess, recruiting process from high schoolers, if they're 3 to 4 stars, whatever they may be, Kurt Cignetti, instead of, I wouldn't say buying, but using the NIL as a portal of expectation, he bought it off of production. You're getting guys from the G5s, the lower levels that are only 3-star recruits that are on the veteran aspects of like the juniors and seniors of the world that have veteran experience of playing college football and are productive. That's why you see so much of a value when it comes to Kurt Cignetti as a head coach and also this roster, because they don't make that many mistakes. They're a cut, dry, X's and O's, goal line to goal line football team that knows how to move the football. Simple as that. They are methodical with their drives, especially with Fernando Mendoza only having 6 drops on the season when it comes to their wide receivers. I mean, the guy has only thrown, 6 interceptions as well, I believe. 41 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the guy's lights out. You look on the other side of the football with Miami, you see Carson Beck. That's always been the narrative with him is when will he turn the ball over? It's just a matter of time. 29 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Again, this Miami team is an offense that knows how to, kind of like Indiana, methodically move the football down the field, but they know how to run the ball. They get to about 3rd and 1, maybe 2nd and 2. They know how to get close to the sticks and extend drives and barely get over the first down marker. So that's where the game of clock management comes into factor, and that's where I would watch this game from. Again, 8.5 is a big spread, but you look at this game as a just smash mouth football. That's what I think we're going to see.
For Miami, I think it's hinging on the play of Carson Beck. If Carson Beck plays like the way he's been playing relatively most of the playoffs, I think Miami has a better chance to at least hang in there than they do if Carson Beck of old comes out and throws 4 interceptions. Carson Beck, to me, will never be this elite prospect that everyone was making him out to be. What was it, last year?
Yeah.
Before the season, where he was
Heisman favorite.
Yeah, just unanimous first overall pick. To me, he's like a late day 2, early day 3 pick at this point. Someone asked, let me see. I think it was Nevada Josh on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Says, if Beck pulls out the win, do you think he will go first round?
Yeah, I mean, there's no other really candidates out there. I don't know what the status is with Trinidad Chambliss. Dante Moore's going back to Oregon. I think Ty Simpson is still on the fence, right? Or is he declared for the draft? I don't know. Those are all question marks.
I don't see it. I just don't. I don't think he has the traits. He's been in college 8,000 years. So, I mean, I feel like he's hit his ceiling.
Yeah, I compare Carson Beck when it comes to the NFL draft to Mac Jones.
Yeah,
you were
McCorkle.
Yeah, like everybody thought Mac Jones was the next best thing, like the next piece of sliced bread that everybody wanted, right? He made Devontae Smith look phenomenal, all the above. Yet you surrounded a quarterback with a really good team. That's kind of what Miami's doing with Carson Beck right now. They're taking the ball out of his hands and putting it into Malachi Tony's hands. That's what they're doing. And again, it's worked well for them. They're getting the push off the offensive line. That's the big factors when it comes to tonight. The Miami edge rushers, to me, obviously you mentioned Ruben Bain and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
How does that match up against the Indiana tackles and guards? Because when you start disrupting that offensive line, maybe that throws a little bit of a wrench into Fernando Mendoza's game plan, just a tad bit.
I would even expand that. Can the Miami defense as a whole contain Indiana's offense? Can they get to Fernando Mendoza? Can they lock down Charlie Baker? Becker.
Yeah.
Why did I say Baker? Who's Charlie Baker?
I don't know.
Former NCAA or current NCAA president.
Along the same lines, I guess. Can they contain Father Ryan alum? Never beat JP2. Charlie Becker. Can they contain those receivers? Because no one has all year long. This would be the game to do it because it's the last one. Although, as a Michael and Madison on the text line says, not sure why everyone's concerned about this game tonight. The Pop-Tarts Bowl was weeks ago. We already have a national champion. Yes, congratulations to the BYU Cougars for winning America's national championship. The People's National Championship, as it is called.
Yeah, it is the People's National Championship. I mean, that's all Peter Millar was wearing, or not wearing, but he they
designed like a pullover.
Yeah, like a Pop-Tarts pullover, which is crazy.
Probably for $250.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah, I'm good. If it was given to me, I would absolutely wear it. I'd wear it every day.
Yeah, but this will be a fun one tonight. I'm excited to see what Charlie Becker does. One being a Father Ryan alum, and me being a Father Ryan alum as well. Like the fact that he has developed into being this top tier wide receiver for Indiana is just a glorifying moment, not for people in Nashville, but for college football fans, because then you can kind of say, we have that on our roster right now. That's why I'm so enamored with this Indiana team, is that they're not 5-star glorified players. You look at prime example, look at Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt follows under this same umbrella of the conversation of getting veteran players, juniors, seniors. I think they had one of the oldest teams in college football this year, or I guess veteran-esque teams in all of college football this year. If they go to the portal and do the same thing, I think that's the niche market when it comes to college football going forward, is the NIL and grabbing players from a G5 school or a 3-star player coming out of high school that didn't get much play time his first 2 seasons in college. That, I think, is the valued aspect of college football going forward.
The landscape has been even. I think that's kind of the good thing about NIL. We say this all the time. If you would have told me 3 years ago that Indiana and Miami were going to play for a national championship, I would have put you in a straitjacket.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't seem crazy. And honestly, it's gotten to the point where you hear people nationally talking about, I'm so sick of Indiana winning. I'm so tired of them being so good. How weird is that? That NIL has gotten us to a point to where the playing field is so even that anyone at any given time can be a national championship contender.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, we talked over the weekend about parity. What leagues have parity or don't have parity? Well,
there is no parity more in college football.
Exactly. College football is the definition of parity, wouldn't you say?
I said college athletics in general.
It's true.
I mean, look at college basketball, which, I mean, you didn't think I wasn't going to come on the air today, and we're not going to talk about what happened this weekend, were you?
No, we got to chat about it, right?
Well, we'll talk about it later. But parity across college athletics is the name of the game. And I think college football, this national championship, is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, and looking at again some other matchups tonight, I mentioned Malachi Tony. How does Indiana's defense subside his production?
Mhm.
Because if you take the ball out of Malachi Tony's hands and you're Indiana and you stop that, I think you win the football game. I really do. Because when you and I was telling you just now earlier in this segment, when the ball is in Carson Beck's hands and he's forced to make those throws, right now, Indiana has a pretty darn good secondary, probably one of the best in all of college football right now. Obviously, there are only two left teams in the college football playoff, so I'd say, have the best secondary. But you look at that and say, yeah, maybe if you put the ball in Beck's hands, you're going to force turnovers, and you're going to force a lot of points your direction.
Yeah, I think it's kind of best on one side of the ball, right? You get to see Indiana's offense versus Miami's defense.
Mm-hmm. Their front, yeah,
Their
sure.
front, for sure. And I think if you're a Titans fan, you're probably watching this and thinking, all right, let's watch Ruben Bain.
Yeah.
Who I wasn't a big fan of at the start. He's growing on me. I like that dude.
Forget about the arm thing. Forget about the arm
Stop
length.
worrying about that.
The dude is an animal. That's a guy that you can rally a football team around. And again, comes back to the Robert Saleh conversation. If you go get Robert Saleh, and I mentioned this with Jeff Ulbrich as well, what's the one key component in their defense that they need?
Pass rush.
A young pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what the Titans are picking this year in the draft? Number 4.
Probably a pass rusher.
Exactly. And if they go get a guy in Robert Saleh or a defensive-minded coach, you're more than likely going to grab an edge rusher.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they should do.
If they hire Nagy, do you think they go receiver?
That's a tough one, man. Look, if they go grab Nagy, I think if there's a trade suitor out there, I think you trade back. I really do.
Yeah, it's just a matter of with a quarterback draft this bad, who really wants to trade up? I mean, unless you really love like Carnell Tate or, I don't think Jeremiah Love's going to go that high, but someone like that.
Mekhi Lemon out of USC, possibly. Yeah. I think that's like a mid first-round talent.
Yeah, or even on the defensive side of the ball, do you love Arvell Reese that much or Caleb Downs or someone like that?
He's got the sizing intangibles to be a good football player.
Right.
Again, Ruben Bain, I think, is a top 5 talent in this college football pool for the NFL draft. It's just a matter of where the Titans will go, depending on their head coaching search.
I would agree.
And if they go Saleh, I think Bain's the shoe-in.
I would absolutely agree with that. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll continue to talk about the national championship. I have a hypothetical, or maybe not a hypothetical, but more of a, philosophical question for you. If Indiana wins the national championship, obviously they're going to be 16-0 on the season. The first team in history to ever do that and win a national championship. Where does that rank them in terms of the greatest teams of all time? We'll discuss that coming up next, right here on Next Man Up. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on 102.5 The Game. St. Louis's very own. Is this Nelly?
It is.
That's what I thought. That is indeed what I thought. Welcome back in to Next Man Up here on 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman out today. He's in Newark, New Jersey, hanging out with the Mafia and calling Vanderbilt versus Michigan women's basketball. Hopefully learning that in Newark, New Jersey, it is illegal to pump your own gas. So I'm not sure how that works. But
I believe he bust up there, by the way.
Oh, they bust.
I don't know that. I'm saying to the, the stadium, or excuse me, the arena and back to the hotel.
No.
Probably through.
That'd be really funny if they made him drive himself.
That'd be something, man.
That'd be funny. We're talking about the national championship tonight, Indiana versus Miami, live from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And I have a philosophical question for you all. Obviously, if Indiana wins the national championship, they'll go 16-0, the first team in history to do it. Where does that rank them in terms of the greatest teams of all time in the history of college football? I've pulled up a list from Sports Illustrated on the best college football teams of this century. Number 1, Miami, 2001. Number 2, who I think is the best college football team of all time, LSU from 2019. Of course, with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, that whole bunch. Number 3, Alabama from 2020, which that one often gets debated because that was the COVID year. They played a 6-win Ohio State team in the national championship and just rocked them. So,
yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. It's kind of
Heisman winner Devontae Smith on that team as well.
That was the Mac Jones year where everybody thought Mac Jones was like the best thing ever, and then ended up not being great at the NFL level.
Good old McCorkle Jones. I'll just give you the top 5. Number 4 is Clemson from 2018 with Deshaun Watson and that whole bunch. And then number 5, Texas of 05 with Vince Young.
Yeah. VY. Yeah. That's a good one. Look,
where would you rank Indiana?
Top 3.
Better than 2 of those teams?
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, it goes LSU atop the list. I go LSU. I'd probably go Georgia in 22 when they went to that back-to-back.
They're on this list. Let's see where they are. They are number 7.
Yeah, I go 2022 Georgia as of late. That's number 2 on the list. I think number 3 you put Indiana.
Really?
Yeah, and the reason why I put Indiana at 3, and I'm not trying to be an SEC homer when saying this, but that LSU team, star-studded, just like this Indiana team. There was a lot of proving ground when it came to last season for Indiana. Obviously not making the national championship, but proving that you could win over 10 games under Kurt Cignetti in this roster. Then you run it back and go undefeated, and now you're in the national title game. If they do end up winning it all, it maybe has a strong case for number 2. Maybe a 1A, 1B situation at number 1. But right now I have them at 3.
I would go 19 LSU at 1, 01 Miami at 2. I really like that Bama team, despite all the controversy that went into that season. That team was freaking talented.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go with them at number 3. I like 04 USC with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, and that whole, obviously their championship was vacated, but which, who claims that championship, by the way? Auburn.
Go figure.
They didn't win it, but somehow they claim it.
I mean, UCF claims a national title in 2013, right?
Oh, yeah.
Their undefeated year.
It's hanging up on their stadium, 2017.
2017, excuse me.
Yep.
No, I said 13.
They went undefeated and still managed to finish at like number 25 or something like that.
And to all the Michigan fans listening, because, I think it was a couple weeks ago I was on with Joe Dubin, and I was like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ryan Day, and all Michigan fans are just rah-rah about it, whatever. Obviously, Michigan won in 2023. They went undefeated. I can't say that's a top-tier team. And again, I'm using reference points from the NFL right now because J.J. McCarthy's not it as a quarterback. And also you got a coaching ban for Jim Harbaugh as well. So that's a team that has a lot of asterisks next to it right now. Obviously, include Sharon Moore in that situation as well with his whole situation. But I can't incorporate them in the top 5. I really can't.
I can't either.
No.
J.J. McCarthy, to me, has always been a below-average quarterback.
Yeah.
He was a Blake Corum run merchant in that year.
And you can say there's some similarities when you look at tonight's game between Miami and Michigan. I mean, Malachi Toney, again, I mentioned take the ball out of Carson Beck's hands. That's kind of what J.J. McCarthy did a little bit when it came to Michigan in that year they won the national title game. So that's something to look into. And again, back to the main point of the conversation was about Indiana. They go 16-0, first team to do it in all of college football. Again, they had an extra game to prove it. We understand that, but I'm in the camp of top 3 for sure. And tonight's outcome may change that. It really might.
Yeah, I just from a talent perspective, they're not in the top 10.
Sure.
I mean, from NFL draft talent perspective, I should say.
You're forgetting one.
Who's that?
We cannot. I don't get caught up in this conversation too much, but we cannot go this segment without mentioning 2001 Miami.
We mentioned.
Oh,
that.
you okay?
Yeah,
okay.
I did.
Who mentioned that?
He did.
Okay,
Yeah.
good for you, Connor.
They're number 2.
Proud of you.
They're number 2 behind
Proud of you.
that LSU team.
Good on you.
Yeah, I mean that seems. Was that Ray Lewis? No, I don't think Ray Lewis was
2001. Let me look it up real quick. Let's see here. As my computer has died. So
Can you tell I was not born yet?
yeah, that is true.
I was not around for this, so I'm doing my best.
No, I think they had he's a broadcast on the Fox broadcast. I'm forgetting his name.
Larry Coker was the head coach.
Jonathan Vilma. He was
Yes.
a linebacker on that
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I mean, Sean Taylor, can't forget about him as well.
38
thinking about it.
players from the 01 Miami Hurricanes team drafted by the NFL.
I mean, they were loaded. They really were. Oh, yeah, they were loaded, man. I mean, you go and look at that LSU team, they're probably one up there as well. I mean, again, the SEC prides themselves on top draft picks in the NFL the following draft, that is. Same thing for the ACC in that aspect. So,
all right, I'm going to cater to the Big Orange people.
uh-oh.
Where do you put 2022 Tennessee in this conversation?
That the Hendon Hooker year?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't win a
What?
national title game.
Yeah. Didn't even make the playoffs.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
No, they don't rank anywhere. In
I'm
this
talking in
conversation.
terms of
Are you
talent.
trying to gas up the Big Orange people for when you know
For
talk
when I
about
tear
whatever
them
you're going
down?
to talk about later?
For when I tear them down, no, I'm just from a talent perspective.
No, I don't think they hit anywhere near the marks of these lists of top teams that have won the national title. I just can't.
Good. That makes me happy to hear. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Spencer is on the line waiting very patiently. Spencer, go ahead.
Yes, also it's first time calling. I listen a lot, but
Well, thank you.
I turned in late as far as hearing y'all's top 5, but I know out of all these stations that I listen to that says they're top 5, how is the 2014, 2015 Ohio State not on there? How dominant they were, and especially winning the national champion, having to go to the third string quarterback.
Well, thank you for the call, Spencer. I appreciate it. Yeah,
Thank you.
2014 Ohio State, I think, is maybe in the top 10, maybe just outside. It's a great story with Cardell Jones,
JT
Barrett, that elite wide receiver tandem they had there. I'm looking at in terms of dominance, and they were pretty dominant.
Yeah.
In terms of talent from top to bottom, I think they're the teams that we're mentioning have them by a little bit, but it's no discredit to them. They're number 11 on the Sports Illustrated list. I mean, that was a loaded team. Braxton Miller was the quarterback, got injured. Then they put in JT Barrett. He broke his ankle in the Michigan game. Then Cardell Jones goes in and wins a national championship.
I think a lot of people forget too, the running back on that team was Ezekiel
Elliott.
That had a pretty good, run of it. So
Man, he was so good.
Yeah.
And his first couple of years in Dallas, he was so good.
And then
what happened?
fell off as a lot of running backs do.
Well, he jumped in the
Salvation Army
bucket and got fined for it.
Yeah, but that's for a good cause though. But he's right. Spencer, appreciate the call. Always call back. We always encourage the calls. He's right. They do deserve to be in the top 5. I only gave my top 3. So I mean, the honorable mention there on the phone, I probably might agree with you there, Spencer. Again, Ohio State, you could call them a form of a dynasty. I mean,
I would throw Princeton from 1913 in there.
no, I mean he's not wrong with it. It's not too far removed. It's only 8 years away, right? 12, something like that. Yeah.
2014. That's 12 years ago.
Yeah, 12. Sorry, 12. Excuse me. I wasn't thinking correctly.
That's 12 years ago,
Yeah.
which
God.
feels ridiculous. I was in the 4th grade.
Wow.
I vividly remember that. I remember
No,
what
sophomore in high school.
I remember being really excited because I loved Marcus. and we all kind of knew he was probably going to go to the Titans at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember, I vividly remember that game. I was crushed. I didn't cry or anything. This is a conversation Christian and I were having yesterday of just moments in sports where you cried.
Yeah.
I got to thinking about it. I think I've only cried 3 times in sports in my lifetime.
Yeah.
The 2017 Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. We all know how that one ended. 2015 Final Four when Wisconsin beat Kentucky. I cried in that one. And then this is the weird one. When I was little, I was a big Celtics guy for some reason. So when Gordon Hayward went down with that just gruesome ankle injury, I sobbed. I couldn't do it. I don't know what it was.
One time I've actually kind of was brought down to tears was 2010. Italy missed the World Cup group stage. They lost to Uruguay, I believe. Yeah, that was a rough time.
The meatballs went soggy that day.
And they haven't made the World Cup since. They're still on the verge of trying to make the World Cup this year. So they have a lot of playing games to play, unfortunately.
Yeah. Italy.
Yeah.
Rough. Poor Italy. Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through this list right now. USC 2005 is on here. It's a good team. Ohio State in 2002. Miami in 2002, who Ohio State beat in that national championship. Florida. I mean, how could we not mention Florida with Tim Tebow?
Yeah. I mean, look.
And a certain tight end that we won't mention.
That's true. That's true. I mean, again, if you watch that, Swamp Kings, is that what it's called? I mean, it gives a good, good vibration of all that.
Yeah, it hit a lot. Like it just did not reveal what I was hoping.
That's when college football was great, though, too. No NIL, nothing to worry about. Just true.
Everyone was getting paid illegally.
Yeah,
but it was great.
True passion for the sport, though.
Bring it back. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on this. Who is the best college football team of all time? And if Indiana wins tonight, they'd be 16-0. Where do they rank in that conversation? We'll keep doing that. Plus an update on the transfer portal as things start to wind down there. We'll do that coming up next, right here on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. Like a cop car. Oh, yeah. This has Teron Davenport written all over it. I mean, this just sounds like something he would make me play on Talking with TD.
Phenomenal song.
It is a phenomenal song. We'll go back in. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier in for Jake Lyman today. Before we wrap up this little conversation we have on where does Indiana rank in terms of the best teams of all time, I unfortunately have to do this. Let's go to our phone lines. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Dr. Locke, who's been waiting patiently on the line. Dr. Locke, go ahead.
What's going on, fellas? A lot of usage of Ohio State, by the way. Love this guy, Spencer. Love Spence.
I knew he
needs to
summoned
call
you.
in more often. Yeah, he did. And would appreciate a little V when referencing the dynasty known as Ohio State. And I mean, God, we're talking a lot about Indiana. What conference? I'm just curious, fellas. What conference do they play for?
Yep.
The Big Ten.
The Big Ten.
I've
Yep.
done nothing against that.
Yeah, Conference of Champions. Yeah, I got it. But they
Buddy, that's the
calling about
Pac-12.
the game. Hey, calling about the game tonight. As much as I'd love to, put the trophy case and put the trophy in a Big Ten mantle. My money, and I win more than I lose. My money is probably taking the points. I think this game is going to be closer than it's not going to be a buzzsaw. In the first 5 to 10 minutes, we'll see if that line holds up. If Indiana's O-line holds up against those edge rushers, it's going to be a long day. Because, I don't care who the quarterback is. That Miami defense made a very mobile Texas A&M quarterback look really bad. I didn't know we had a weakness till we played him, and we did. We had a freshman offensive tackle that absolutely could not stand up against that pass rush. I didn't even realize we had it. They exposed it so bad. But Indiana's offensive line is good, Kogan and whatnot. But we're going to find out in the first 5 to 10 minutes of that kickoff. If Miami gets home and gets home often, it's gonna be a long day for him in Indiana. It's gonna be a very tough victory.
Thank you, Dr. Locke. I
That's
appreciate
all I
it.
gotta say. That and please, the Ohio State fellas. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Locke. Yeah, I think he's got a point there. I don't think I would take the points personally, just because I think Indiana is going to kind of run away with it. But I don't know. I don't think it'll be a complete blowout. I would take Indiana by 10.
He makes a good point about the offensive line and the edge rushers just going up against each other, because that was a point I made in the first hour. Is it's a battle of if Miami's front can actually disrupt any of Indiana's offensive line production. Because if that is the case, and it comes from the exterior part of the offensive line, one good quality about Indiana is they're very good at adapting to whatever is given to them.
Oh, yeah.
And
They're well prepared.
Exactly. And they sometimes they can play down to their opponent, or they can play to their opponent, give or take. I look at this Indiana run game, especially if there's a lot of exterior pressure. They did a really good job against Alabama in the Rose Bowl of just finding those small crevices in the A gap. Normally, if it's like a 12 dive or something like that, and just finding that small little crease to get to the second level. I think it was really impressive from Indiana, and it just shows their veteran leadership. Like I've kind of, reiterated multiple times already today.
All right. I feel we have exhausted the breakdown of the national championship.
Did we? Have we?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I've said all I need to say.
Okay.
I would take Indiana by 10. I hope that Dr. Locke is right. It's a great game, but I would take Indiana by 10.
It should be a fun one to watch, though.
Yeah.
Don't you just love a good college football?
It's
national
championship college football. I mean,
Yeah.
why would I not watch?
football?
Football and yeah. I mean, soak it in, folks. We only got 3 more weeks of this. 4. If you count the Pro Bowl, which I don't.
Yeah, they're Pro Bowl games. They've rebranded it.
Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl's so worthless. But on the college football conversation, the transfer portal seems like it's winding down a little bit. It's closed, so no one can enter anymore. There are still people floating around. Darian Mensa is in there, quarterback for Duke, which I think he'll find himself at Miami. I want to talk about who the winners and the losers of the portal is. I have On3's portal rankings going on.
Okay.
Texas Tech, number 1. I don't think that's any surprise. Oil money. Lane Kiffin and LSU find themselves at number 2. I think the get of Sam Leavitt was massive for them. Ironically, do you know who's at number 3?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Ole Miss.
And that's what I love so much about the portal itself. It's been a back and forth NIL bloodbath battle between LSU and Ole Miss. There have been some guys from LSU's roster that have transferred to Ole Miss. There are some Ole Miss guys that may have gone to LSU.
Yeah.
That's what I just love so much about college football. Talking about parity again. This is the reason why we all love the sport.
I would consider all the big dogs the winners. There's a random one at number 8. Random one at number 9 as well. North Carolina at number 8. Rutgers at number 9 in the portal rankings.
Wow.
Washington is up there as well. You know who's number 12?
No.
Oh,
okay. I don't know. Really? Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
Of all teams. So brick by brick, 2.0. You know, they say the 2016 is the new 2026. So maybe they're bringing back the 2016 narrative of brick by brick for Kentucky.
Oh, God, don't say brick by brick.
I'm just saying that's their motto.
Yeah. Brick by brick.
It's going to be great, man. I think we're going to see a different version of Kentucky football that a lot of people are going to be surprised by.
I would definitely say they are winners of the portal this year.
Yeah.
Will Stein has come in and just recruited and brought in some top guys, actually. They've brought in Nick Anderson from LSU, who's going to be the wide receiver 1. A good friend of mine, maybe not good friend, but a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I went to high school with him. Kenny Minchie will be playing quarterback for Kentucky. So that's going to be weird for me, but also really fun. They're going to be a fun team. I really believe that. They got a brutal SEC schedule. So I wouldn't expect them to be in the national championship picture just yet. But I think that they are capable of going 8-4, 9-3, which would be great. You wanted to know where Mississippi State is.
Top 20. Right?
Number 49.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong list. Oops.
Number 49.
That's all right.
But the biggest loser of the portal to me is another SEC team. Oklahoma.
Yeah. That's a program that I think values a lot on the defensive side of the ball. You know, they just signed Jason Witten as their tight ends coach. Funny enough, they signed a guy from Tennessee that is headed to Oklahoma.
Yep.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
That's funny. There was a recruiting thing going on the other day. Kentucky, Jason Witten, and Jeff Brom. Will Stein, Jeff Brom, and Jason Witten were all at this one top tight ends basketball game trying to recruit him.
Hey, look, I feel like Jason Witten's playing with a little bit of some Tennessee heartstrings right now because, look, you go grab a few guys out of the portal from Tennessee. The man went to Tennessee. But all you're doing now is you're just grabbing certain guys from the portal and said, hey, maybe Tennessee's a fun place to play, but why would you want to do that and not win national championships at Oklahoma? If that's a sales pitch, then, man, they got a good little roster they're building up there.
I'm curious. I'm kind of just browsing through the SEC here.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina's floating just outside the top 25 at 26. That's a team in a perfect year. If you're wondering where Vanderbilt is, they are number 28. But it doesn't seem like there's been a lot of action going on for Vandy in the portal.
Yeah.
I had a great recruiting class straight out of high school, but in terms of experience in the portal, it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on there.
You look at Vandy, and they got that wide receiver from Georgia Southern, Ja'Cory Thomas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Again, that goes back to the conversation about how Vandy follows under the same umbrella as Indiana in this category of getting proven talent at the, I guess, G5, lower tier, Power 4 level. Again, this is a guy that's 6'4", 6'5", 200 plus pounds. Guy had 790-ish receiving yards and supplemented with good touchdown production. So if you can get a guy like that has the size structure of being a perennial wide receiver, you got a guy for Jared Curtis. You're solely revolving this team around a guy like Jared Curtis that you know is going to start from day one, and that's what you're going to do. I think there's going to be a little bit of adjustment period for Vandy when it comes to offensive game planning, but minus that, if they get it down pretty quick, they're getting the running back room back. I think this is a team that can restock quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
And it could be the Indiana of next year. You never know.
Well, if it helps you, Vanderbilt fans, you are ranked above Tennessee as they are at number 31. Speaking of Tennessee, you didn't think I was going to come on the air and not talk about this, right?
I've been waiting.
Oh, we'll do it coming up
boy.
next I got some words for Tennessee basketball. We'll do that coming up next, right here on the Weekend Huddle. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on 102.5 The Game. Remember when this was like a trend? I think this was during COVID.
Wasn't this 2016?
No,
No.
this was later. This was like 19, maybe 20. I was in high school.
2018.
18.
2018.
That's right.
All right. So not too far off.
It was high
from-
school.
All right.
It was my freshman year of high school.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. I'm young, guys.
It's my sophomore year of college.
I'm young, guys. I'm still a baby around here.
My sophomore year of college. Holy cow.
I'm still a baby. I am still a baby. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier here with you. And I mean, you didn't think I wasn't going to come on the air and talk about this, right?
Gotta hear it.
I mean, you guys know me well enough. Tennessee, what happened? What happened? Up 18 at one point and blow it and lose 80-78 to I don't know, some team in blue that I like, and I don't know. Oh, that's right. The Kentucky Wildcats. And then I fielded texts after that game. Well, we still own you in basketball. So I did some quick research. Kentucky is 6 of the last 7 against Tennessee in Knoxville, by the way. or I mean all total. They have won 4 in a row in Knoxville. Rick Barnes, in his tenure at Tennessee, is 12-13 against the University of Kentucky. So there goes the ownership claim.
I believe that's a losing record, right, Connor?
I believe so. I believe that's just under 500. So, yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm sorry. I'm really petty. I really am. But
when it comes to sports, that is.
I've been fielding trash talk all week, and now, I'm being petty about it.
Take your victory
From the
lap.
less mature fans, it sounds like.
From the less mature, yeah. Every time I get told to go back to the coal mines, it boils up. Less mature. Never forget the last time I was at Tennessee, and they said Tennessee has 73 wins against Kentucky, the most of all SEC programs. And then I looked it up, and they have like 157 losses.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was that Kentucky's not first, but they had the, I guess, first back-to-back 15-plus deficit comeback? Is that right?
They came back from 18 2 times in a row.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they're putting it together. It's not, I don't think they're national title contenders, but they're
Bubble watch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all you need. Like I keep telling people, when you get in the dance, if it's even the NHL, if you're in the playoffs, you're
bubble watch.
You're in the dance.
You're on the wild card.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah,
just get in, get the invitation,
get in. Yeah, I mean, if they don't get it, Lexington will burn down.
Yeah, a lot of couches.
It's just gonna happen. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jeff in Murfreesboro is on the line, waiting very patiently. Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been waiting pretty patient. I wanted to tell you guys I was watching. I didn't really watch a lot of the game Saturday. I'm a big Kentucky fan. I had to work, and I was kind of sneaking in little spots of the TV. There was a TV where I was working. I was kind of sneaking spots. I listened to some of the first half going to work, and it wasn't very good. But I told somebody the other night with the LSU game, it was a Mardi Gras miracle too. So you do remember '94, right?
Yes. Well, I wasn't around.
When they were 31 down with 15 minutes to go, came back and beat LSU when Dale Brown coached and Patino. They won 99-95 that night. As they kicked it into the corner to McCarty, they were down 2, and the LSU guy couldn't get over there fast enough, and he hit they went up by 1. It was the first I forget when it was. But and then they had the lead on Saturday. The first time they got the lead, it was about 35 seconds to go against Tennessee. And when they finally went ahead, they was about 170. And when I said I want to give you guys, they were talking about it after the ball game on Saturday. Rick Barnes, during his era at Tennessee, he's been there 12 years now. Which I wish they gave him a lifetime. I hope his dead carcass over at coaching. As far as I'm concerned, he's the worst coach in basketball history. They can have him. He ain't worth a dang. As long as you got him on the sidelines, you can beat him. That's why they call him regular season Rick. But during his tenure in Knoxville, when he's at home, his record is 102. Did you know that?
I did. And the other two.
And you're going to do it again. The 2 losses are Kentucky. 2025, they were down by 3. And went his first year, and they won down there. And then Saturday, they were down 11 and a half and come back. Their 2 losses, both of them were Kentucky, both of them. Did you know that?
I did.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was going to say. They got 2 losses for Kentucky. But like you said, it's 4 in a row, and it's 6 or 7 because back during Hall's time, when Coach Hall coached, they never could win in there. It was when they were in Stokely then, they could never win in that place. In 78, when they won it all, they won it in 84. They went to the Final Four and lost that year. Went over and lost. And one night, I watched it when I was growing up. I don't know if you know who Melvin Turper, you know who that is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they called him Melvin Dinnerbell. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he scored 42 over there one night. They couldn't stop him. They scored 42 and they still lost.
All right.
I forget what year it was, but I just wanted to say that. And also, they said after the ball game that Barnes yelled at that we used high-tech devices to cheat or something. Somebody said on Facebook or something. He all had Aberdeen that we cheat. They always had a big fight because they can't beat us on the floor. They got to beat us, I guess beat us in a fight or something. They can't beat us actually on the floor. As long as you got him on the sideline, you got a chance. They going to Alabama Saturday. They got a week off, so as long as it'll be regular season Rick versus Quaker Oats at Alabama. Quaker Oats.
Quaker Oats. I appreciate the call, Jeff. Thank you very much. Yeah, I not sure how to react to that, but
I think he tested your basketball knowledge, and you held up to the
I
occasion.
held my own.
There you
My
go.
favorite part was, no, let me talk. And I was like, oh, okay.
You got it.
I warned you.
Yeah, you did. 8955 says, was that Coach O on the phone?
Maybe. Go Tigers.
Coach O calling in about Kentucky basketball.
Appreciate your call, though, Jeff.
I do
Fantastic.
appreciate the call. I know he calls into Plaster a lot, so got to be patient.
Yeah.
Just patience is key. That's all I wanted to do today. I mean, college basketball has been fun this year. Freshmen this year are absurd. I mean, you've got Koa Pete in Arizona. You've got Cam Boozer over in Duke. You've got Darren Peterson in Kansas. Tennessee's got a dynamic freshman, Nate Amen. So freshmen in general this year, this freshman class has been remarkable. And I think that's going to make college basketball fun down the line, and it'll be very interesting. I mean, the national tournament starts here in about 2 months.
Just a quick thought. I want to get your opinion on it. After Vandy's lost to Florida this past weekend, they've kind of come down from the high and mighty. You think they've they're still in contention, you think, to really be the true contenders of the SEC to win it all?
I think the SEC is so wide open this year.
And don't get it twisted. They are 16-2, but
Right.
you know.
Yeah, but conference play is different than non-conference play, especially if you're Vanderbilt. And no disrespect to them, but the volume of play they've had doesn't compare to the volume of play that Florida's had. Florida was playing Arizona, who's the number one team in the nation. They played Houston. They played these teams that are, good non-conference battles. Vanderbilt, quite frankly, didn't. I mean, they played St. Mary's, who's a good team, and they played UCF, who was ranked and beat Kansas. There's another one in there I'm missing as well. But Vanderbilt's a good team. I think they're capable of competing with the SEC's best. But they've got two tough ones coming up. They're going to Arkansas this coming Tuesday, which you can hear right here on 102.5 The Game. And then they go to the Hump, which Mississippi State's kind of down this year a little bit, but the Hump is a tough place to play for any team in the SEC. So 2 big tests coming up for the Vanderbilt Commodores. It'll be interesting to see if they can hold up. I think physicality in the paint has been their weakness. Florida is a very physical team from down low, and Vanderbilt isn't. They don't have the post presence to be able to compete with that. So I think that's why a lot of the points in the paint were being scored over Vanderbilt. And look, they hung with Florida. Florida's a good team, and they hung with them. It was, 96-92 or something like that?
Yeah, 94, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was high scoring game. Really good game, actually. Vanderbilt, I think, is capable of competing with the SEC. This is the best Vanderbilt basketball team we've seen in a long time. And credit to Mark Byington and Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles and that whole bunch for getting it going. But it'll be interesting to see how they compete down the stretch. I'll be there next Tuesday in Memorial Gymnasium to watch my Cats take on the Doors.
Late tip-off on that, isn't it?
8 o'clock
yeah.
tip-off. Yeah, so that'll be a fun wake-up call the next morning. But regardless, it should be interesting to watch how they play down the stretch. But to answer your question, I think they're capable of competing at large in the SEC. This is a wide open year for the SEC. The SEC is kind of down compared to last year, which, I mean, the greatest year ever for the SEC. 14 teams get into the tournament. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I could see maybe 8 to 10 getting in, which is still a lot of a 16-team conference. I mean, over 50%. So, but Vanderbilt's absolutely going to be in the tournament. It's a matter of, can they stay above surface level in conference play? Because going above 500 in conference play is going to get you in the tournament. Maybe even going 500 in this conference is going to get you in the tournament. If you flame out and, you're drowning yourself a little bit, that's when it's time to worry. That's when it's time for bubble watch. And I'm not sure they're going to get to that point, just because I think there are teams that they should beat. Mississippi State, no offense, South Carolina, LSU, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, teams like that, Texas,
Auburn,
although they lost to Texas. But do they get Texas again?
I believe
I'll have to do some research.
They do not.
They don't?
Nope.
Okay. So, but according to a texter, I'd have to research this. Vandy has more quad 1 and 2 wins than any SEC team. I don't believe that is accurate, because New Orleans, despite popular belief, is not a quad 1 win.
Yeah.
But I'll have to do some research on that. But to answer your question, I think Vanderbilt is going to be just fine in the SEC. I think that's a at least a 4 or 5 seed in the March Madness tournament. They
That's
can
fair.
be a lot higher, but I think at the minimum, that's what they'll get. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Coming up next, we'll get back into the conversation on the Titans head coach search with a little bit of a twist now that we've learned about Sean McDermott being fired by the Buffalo Bills. Which of the 3 finalists, and we'll throw McDermott in there just for, S's and G's. Which of those finalists puts the Titans on the fastest track to be competitive once again? We'll get to that on the other side. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly in with you today, filling in for Jake Lyman on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Final hour of Next Man Up here on 102.5 The Game. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier filling in for Jake Lyman today as he's off in Newark, New Jersey, calling Vanderbilt women's basketball as they take on Michigan. That tip-off at 1:30 p.m. over on 94.9 The Fan. We're broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. So, to get back into the Titans conversation, obviously the news that broke this morning around 8:30 a.m., Sean McDermott out as the Buffalo Bills head coach. And a lot of conversation today has been, should the Titans go and make a move? Should the Titans reach out, gauge interest, and see if he is interested in filling the vacant head coaching position? So, with that being said, including the three finalists, Robert Saleh, Matt Nagy, Jeff Hafley, and Sean McDermott, which of those four do you feel puts the Titans on the fastest track to compete?
Even though Sean McDermott is available, I'm still on the camp of Robert Saleh. That's the one name that's always been at the top of my list on every single conversation. I will stick to my guns here. That is the one coach I would love to see develop young talent and make this defense be a perennial just force across the league. And that's where I stand. And I'm going to stick to my guns, and that's where I will be the rest of the day, rest of this head coaching venture. If the Titans tend to go a different direction, then that's their opinion. That's the way they want to go. That's fine.
I would say McDermott, just because he's a competitive coach. In 9 years with the Bills, we watched him take a team in a similar situation to the Titans and reach the playoffs. And a lot of that is the staff he's hired. And I think he's capable of coming here and hiring a good staff. But, I mean, I think McDermott would be my answer, but second would definitely have to be Saleh. Leader of men kind of coach, the guy that can transform a defense. I mean, we didn't see that Saturday against Seattle, but you got to factor in who was playing defense. You and I could have been out there.
Yeah.
And, it did not look good. But another thing I think we need to factor in, and I find it very interesting, Adam Schefter putting this out there. He says, FWIW. Former Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy has now met twice in recent days for the Titans head coaching job. Once in late December in Green Bay, then again Friday and Saturday in Tennessee. So, I mean, maybe he knows something. I don't understand why he's putting that out there if we have established the three finalists are Saleh, Nagy, and Hafley. But maybe he knows something we don't.
Maybe throwing it out there in that if you include that conversation in December when he was in Green Bay, then that gives him more opportunities more swings at the piñata than it does everybody else right now, because that'd be three conversations. It wouldn't be just two.
Yeah.
You know? So that's something to look at. And I believe two of those three are all, I don't know what the Green Bay little conversation was, if that was in person or not, because if that's three in-person conversations.
Yeah. Well, one would be, I guess they zoomed in and he's in Green Bay or something like that.
Maybe if that's the case.
And then they talked to him Friday and Saturday. So that's three conversations already.
Yeah.
So I've said this before. I think Mike McCarthy would be a good hire. I don't think it would be a great hire. I think it's about the safest hire you could possibly make. That's the kind of guy that gets you back to surface level. And then after he's done, you look at the guy, okay, who can get us back to Super Bowl contention? I don't think it would be a super long-term hire.
Right. With Mike McCarthy, to me, like you just mentioned, safest guy on paper. When it comes to offensive, I guess, guru-esque with Mike McCarthy, that's a guy I think that can put this offense on the right trajectory quick. Whereas, again, you're now figuring out, well, who's going to supplement the DC spot for the Titans? Are they going to find another guy there? Is it going to be continuing to be Denard Wilson? How is that going to play out? Again, I think there is more of a need on defense for a coach rather than there is for offense, because I'm not saying it's easier to get in an offensive coordinator, but yet I think the way the Titans need to go would be more defense, if that makes sense. I didn't really give you much substance to the conversation,
I agree.
But that's kind of where I'm feeling right now.
It's the cycle.
Yeah.
Right? You just hired the nice guy offensive coordinator, fired him. Now let's go back to the tough guy, hard-ass defensive guy. I think that's Robert Saleh or Sean McDermott. Look, we don't know anything about Sean McDermott being a candidate for the Titans. The only thing we know is what we think they should do, and that's reach out, gauge interest on McDermott, and see what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it's just a phone call, let it be a phone call. It's all right.
And if he says no, then there you go.
Yeah, and McDermott, I think it would value his stock if he didn't really coach this upcoming cycle. In all honesty, because he kind of falls in that Mike Tomlin cycle of coaching where if I take a year off, it might actually help out my stock as a head coach. I could go do a Netflix football show because Netflix is trying to open up a sports department. He'd get paid buku money because that's what Netflix does.
Yep.
Or he can just go do a few guest hosting for NFL Network because, John Robinson's done that a little bit. So has Rand Carthon with CBS Sports. So, I mean, those are all, former GMs / head coaches that can do
Sidebar,
that.
Rand Carthon on CBS Sports is so bad.
Well, I mean,
he's so bitter. You can tell. Like I understand it, but he's always talking about what he should have done as a general manager and what's going wrong with the organization now, as if he wasn't a sole cause of that.
Again, I think that's coach speak to the point of, yeah, I'm trying to get me another GM job somewhere. Probably not going to happen.
He's politicking, and it's probably not going to happen. 615-737-1025. Let's get to some of your thoughts on who could make this Titans team competitive the faster on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 6651 says, one negative I see with both Nagy and Saleh getting a second chance, or that they both went back to the teams they came from. I feel like that limits learning opportunities. I see that, but then I look at the head coaches they were learning under. Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid are two of, if not the two best coaches in the entire NFL. So you could say that it limits learning opportunities, not learning from someone new, but at the same time, the 49ers have always had a capable defense, and some of that is because of Robert Saleh and the players that are on that defense, and Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. On the Chiefs end, you're learning under Patrick Mahomes, and you're teaching Patrick Mahomes. And I know Andy Reid calls the plays, but Matt Nagy has a say in that. And he's not like Nick Holtz, where Nick Holtz gets Brian Callahan's coffee every day. No, he's involved in the game plan and involved in the play calling in-game situations. So I understand that thought, but I wouldn't agree with that. Andrew from Dover says, top three for me is Saleh, Nagy, and Kubiak. I don't believe Clint Kubiak got an interview with the Tennessee Titans.
Not that I know of. I don't have no clue on that.
And if he did, obviously he didn't get a second one.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, again, I'm on the camp of Robert Saleh, but let me just put a little bit of context out there. When he was with San Francisco before he left for New York, he had pretty good success there, right?
Right.
You leave to go to New York and things didn't work out well. You leave and then you go to Green Bay to be like an offensive consultant or like a coach consultant or something. And then he went back to his roots of San Francisco and he's having success again.
Yeah.
Because that is the system that he knows of. And again, if you bring that system to Nashville, I think it just catapults this defense and franchise into a different category. I really do. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just putting on my Robert Saleh glasses and I can't take them off. I mean, that is a possibility. But this guy just oozes a winning mentality for me. I don't know how else to say it. Again, McDermott, I'm excluding him from the conversation because recently just got fired this morning. So I don't know if there's any conversation there. If there is conversation, then sure, maybe include him into this. But right now, I don't know.
Cameron on the text line says, who's going to develop the rookie QB who the entire franchise rides on if you hire Saleh? If he gets lucky enough to hire a competent OC, the guy will leave in 1 year to be a head coach, and you have to start all over again. I mean, the hope is you would bring in a guy, A, for multiple years, and B, you hope that Cam takes enough steps to where you can throw someone else in there and he continues the same amount of production.
Again, everybody compares the number one overall pick to Patrick Mahomes. Every time there is a draft, there's a number one overall pick, they always compare him to Mahomes. Kind of the same situation with Cam Ward a little bit when he was a number one overall pick. There were some similarities that people kept comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. And you go look at the current news from what Schefter put out that the Chiefs are talking to, was that Eric Bieniemy again?
Yeah.
To bring him in as a
which tells you that they're anticipating Matt Nagy's leaving for another job.
Right. And also too, like, I'm sure they kind of want to go back to the fold of what really was going well with them. And when Bieniemy was there as a play calling or as a part of an offensive coordinator / consultant in some aspects, they had success. And I don't know if that's because of his style of play calling or if it's just the difference of Matt Nagy, not as good. I don't know.
Justin in Greenbrier says whoever they choose has to be an upgrade over Callahan. No hate on Brian Callahan, but he was a bad coach on a team that has a very poorly stocked roster. I mean, that's kind of the point of the head coaching search, right?
Yeah.
That's why they have to get this right, because if they get it wrong, you're going to be in the same situation, and it's going to set your franchise back for years.
And to the point about the Chiefs and Nagy real quick, because I mentioned Eric Bieniemy's name, it kind of goes to show you they don't want Nagy back because, like, the fact of the matter is didn't have much success there, in my opinion. That's why I think the whole Patrick Mahomes masking of the play calling of Matt Nagy, that's why I'd be a little concerned.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Before we go to the break, let's get to T-Mac in Murfreesboro on the phone line, waiting very patiently. T-Mac, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say a few things, and then I want to give y'all something to think about.
Sure.
First of all, I don't know what happened to the Mike McCarthy thing as far as like one of the finalists. I heard he went to dinner with the Titans, and then next thing I know, the finalist list come out, and he's not on there. And I hope that they haven't hired Matt Nagy and haven't said anything, because when the Kansas City Chiefs requested to interview Bieniemy, they kind of scared me. But I want to give y'all something to think about real quick. They just interviewed Brian Daboll, right?
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely think that they should go after Sean McDermott, because if they've already talked to Brian Daboll and then they interview Sean McDermott, they can hire Sean McDermott and have Brian Daboll as the offensive coordinator. And I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, T-Mac. I appreciate the call. That's an interesting point, I think. It's important to note that they interviewed Daboll prior to the information of Sean McDermott being fired. This was days ago. McDermott was hours ago. So I do think he has somewhat of a point there. That would be a nice combo here in Tennessee. I think that's two guys that know each other well, obviously, and I think they would complement each other well. But I think it's important to note that, Daboll was interviewed,
prior to all this,
a lot prior to all this. As far as the McCarthy conversation, I think it's a valid concern. Since Callahan got fired, we've been talking about McCarthy potentially being the head coach here. And then the list of potential finalists comes out and he's not on it. I don't think that that's a set in stone list of finalists, because the Titans themselves haven't just full on released it. It's just kind of local reporters like Kaharski and TD and Buck have all released this stuff based on what they've found. But notice every time it says that, it says among the list of finalists. So there could be some we're not seeing, and McCarthy very well could be on that list. I don't think that the Titans have just flat out hired Matt Nagy and not told anyone about it. I think we would know that probably as soon as it's happening. But it is noteworthy to note that the Chiefs are searching for a new offensive coordinator because they're expecting Matt Nagy to leave.
Yeah, and to the T-Mac's point about the whole McDermott-Dable marriage, if that is the case for some form of a coaching staff, it kind of falls under the same category as a Robert Saleh as a head coach, because the running narrative is online that if Saleh were to be the head coach, who'd be his OC? Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
And apparently Titans fans are enamored with a guy like Mike McDaniel to be just married with on offense with Cam Ward. So I still don't understand that, but
I don't really either.
Well, I guess I'll dive into that later on.
That's Joe Rexroad propaganda being put out there. This is his fault. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll continue the conversation. Plus, T-Mac kind of hit on what I want to talk about next. Where is Mike McCarthy? And where would his best destination be? Is it here? Is it elsewhere? We'll discuss that coming up next. Right here on Next Man Up. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on 102.5 The Game. Thank you for not playing the weird medieval version that a former producer on Saturdays used to.
Oh, that's next. Don't worry.
Please, no.
Good song.
It is a good song. Apparently, the movie he was in about this song was like really, really bad. I didn't see it, but is what it is. Welcome back in. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you. Talking once again about the cow everyone just seems to want to milk dry, the Titans head coaching search. And interesting development in that over the past couple of days. Obviously, this morning, Sean McDermott fired by the Buffalo Bills after they lose in the playoffs to the Denver Broncos in overtime, 33-30. How much of a wrench that throws into the Titans' plans, I'm not sure. But as we've talked about, I would at least gauge interest in him and see where that is, as well as continue to interview your finalists you have set. But I want to talk about a guy that is seemingly missing from this conversation. And T-Mac, our caller last segment, kind of hinted at it, and I want to get into it. Where is Mike McCarthy? Obviously, we talked a lot about him once Brian Callahan was fired, and, he's been kind of a top target, at least in the eye of the fan, for some time now. They've talked to him now 3 times, according to Adam Schefter, once in Green Bay, and then again on Friday and on Saturday. Where is he? I mean, to me, he's got Pittsburgh Steeler written all over him because he is just cut out for that job. That is the perfect fit for him. But, that would be a good hire if you're the Titans. So I'm curious, why is Mike McCarthy not being involved in these conversations?
I wonder how much of the conversation when he was here Friday and Saturday was about, again, what kind of got Mike Vrabel fired in a roundabout way here. How much control do you have over the roster? Because we all know after the Brinker and Borgonzi tandem that Brinker's doing his thing as a president of football operations. And, of course, Borgonzi has the final say on the roster and structure of this team. So it leads to you to think when it comes to draft time, who has final say on the pick? Is it going to be Borgonzi or is it going to be Mike McCarthy? Because to me, if it's Mike McCarthy, it makes you wonder when he was in Dallas. Again, it goes back to the Jones family. Who was really running that? Was it more of a McCarthy pick or was it more the Jones family pick? And that's where I kind of am torn when looking at this McCarthy option for the Titans, is because he seems to be the shortcut, on paper guy that can get this thing back on track. But at the same time, what's the behind the scenes look? And I think that's what's holding up all the conversation.
Obviously, there has to be something going on in these interviews that is just holding them back from going, yeah, that's the guy. I'm not saying the Titans should go out and hire Mike McCarthy right this second. No, I think there are options you obviously have, and you're exploring those, and a new option just became available to you this morning. So obviously, there's a lot of thought that needs to go into this. But I think there's obviously something going wrong here. Like, there's something about Mike McCarthy, and maybe he's gone into these interviews and said, I don't care about your plan. I'm going to do what I want or what have you. We'll never know the answer to that. But obviously something is triggering the Titans to where they don't consider him a finalist. And maybe they do, and they're just not revealing that. But it just seems like the talk on Mike McCarthy has died down quite a bit.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I think there's something to that when it comes to roster construction. And look, I think he can develop a guy in Cam Ward at a tremendous level.
I do too.
It's just a matter of,
look at the quarterbacks he's worked with over his time.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Those are 2 good quarterbacks in this league.
And he won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, you mentioned the Steelers, and I mentioned that to Chase like a week ago or so because he was on McAfee's show. I'm talking about Mike McCarthy, that is.
Yeah.
And was just glorifying Pittsburgh, saying, oh, this could be a year Pittsburgh wins the Super Bowl. I love Pittsburgh, yada, yada. He was just
he's
giving them.
Steeler.
It feels like it, right? A guy from that area, it feels like it. And I mentioned it with Jake last Tuesday. What a storyline this would be. Rodgers comes back one more season with Pittsburgh, gives that stability, and possibly wins the Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy.
All right. Speak of the devil. This coming from Paul Kaharski. People are working hard to keep Mike McCarthy's name alive here. He met with the Titans twice, once officially. So not 3 times, twice, once officially. There are no actual indications that he is at any level or at the level of Matt Nagy, Robert Saleh, or Jeff Hafley. My reporting and the reporting of many others says those are the 3. Not that they had meetings, but that they are the 3. Now we see how they react to Sean McDermott. That, of course, coming from Paul Kaharski. So,
And quote tweeting Adam Schefter's,
and quote
for
tweeting
what
Schefter.
it's worth. Yeah.
Of course, we know about Kaharski's beef with Adam Schefter, but that is important to note that it seems like those are the three: Saleh, Hafley, Nagy. And how they react to Sean McDermott, we'll see. As I said, and as you said, I would gauge the interest, but it doesn't look like Bills players are reacting to that firing very well either. As you can see, Jordan Phillips, a defensive tackle there, put on his Instagram story, and I'll censor it for our listening audience. This poop here is stupid, honestly sickening. The best coach I've ever been around.
Interesting.
So you can see, leader of men.
I mentioned earlier about their president of football operations that is now taking over as the GM as well. It makes you think they're going down the same trajectory as the Titans did when Mike Vrabel was gone, left, that is. So it makes you wonder, are the Bills really about to go back to being the bad Bills?
I don't think so.
No?
Simply because they have one guy on their roster.
Yeah.
And his name's Josh Allen.
That's fair.
And I think when you have that kind of momentum at the quarterback position, you go all in. I mean, is there a bad team in the NFL with a good quarterback?
Yeah. No.
Not really that comes to mind. I mean, the Ravens missed the playoffs, but a lot of that has to do with Lamar Jackson missing time with injury.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, I think, is a good quarterback, but he's not at that elite level like Josh Allen is. Yeah. I mean, CJ Stroud has regressed.
We'll exclude Kyler Murray off this list.
Kyler Murray. You love you some Kyler Murray, don't you?
Short people assemble, baby.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really think. Dak Prescott, I guess.
Yeah, you could include him in this conversation.
He would probably be the one that I could say. And Dak Prescott, I don't think is an elite quarterback like Josh Allen is. He's a good quarterback. Yeah. He fits that system perfectly, but he's not at the level of just transcendent beyond scheme than Josh Allen is.
Yeah, and I don't want to include the name, but I'll just put it out there like a Kirk Cousins. That's a glue guy,
the ultimate glue guy.
Yeah, that can really keep a team together. Because look, you'll get Atlanta with Stefanski. You wonder. I mean, obviously he's not going to be in Atlanta any longer because that deal. But what do they have in Michael Penix?
They don't know
exactly. So that makes you wonder as well.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Coming up next, what is the best and worst case scenario to come out of the Titans for the next few days? We'll discuss that coming up next, right here on Next Man Up. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier in with you, in for Jake Lyman here on 102.5 The Game. There we go. Oh, this is prime NSYNC right here. NSYNC, some good stuff. Welcome back in. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman out. He is in Newark, New Jersey, hanging out with the Sopranos. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier in with you today, talking about the Titans head coaching search, because what else would we talk about? I mean, that's all anyone wants to hear about these days. So here's a philosophical question for you. What is the best and worst case scenario to come out of the Titans over the next few days? I feel that the coaching hire is imminent. We know the 3 finalists. What they do with Sean McDermott is out in the ether. We're not sure yet, if anything at all. But what would you say the best and worst case scenario to come out of the Tennessee Titans head coaching search would be over the next few days?
Best case scenario would be Robert Saleh as the head coach, and then whatever follows, behind that, I'm cool with it. The worst case scenario is Matt Nagy as the head coach.
I mean,
I want to know how long Nick Frazier can go without talking about Robert Saleh.
It's not happening today.
Yeah, that is your guy.
It is.
How happy will you be if the Titans hire him?
Very happy. And if he stinks with the Titans, then I'll live and die by my words. I'm okay with
You
that.
and Christian too, Connor.
I mean, this was before the Sean McDermott development. So I Robert Saleh of the 3, I think, is the best candidate. I don't think there's much arguing that there. I mean, the best case scenario would be Bill Parcells comes back from the dead, coach the Tennessee Titans. So that's the best. I'm just kidding. The best case scenario to me is they gauge interest on Sean McDermott, and he is interested, and they have him in here by Wednesday. And then he hires his own staff, and whether that's Brian Daboll or, Mike McDaniel as OC, he hires an elite OC. The worst case, I think it's pretty unanimous. Matt Nagy is the head coach. I was on the train of, I don't think he would be a bad candidate, and I still don't think he's truly, truly awful like a lot of Titans fans make him out to be. But I think of the 3, he is by far my least favorite of the finalists. Jeff Hafley, I don't really consider a factor anymore. He's technically still a finalist, but I think it's inevitable that he takes that Miami job just because of the relationships he has there. So the best case would be McDermott is interested and he gets here and he's hired. The worst case would be, Matt Nagy hired on as the head coach. And what's really going to boil my blood is if Matt Nagy is hired as the head coach and they go, we did some extensive searching and we just found that Matt Nagy was the best candidate. And then I'm like, then what was the point? Because we speculated this for a long, long time. And, I don't want to say that everything they're doing as far as a coach search is just fake, because that's not true, but it would feel like a punch in the balls, right?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, look, you look at this coaching search, if you want to call it, and I even spoke to you on this, Connor, outside of, behind the mic, is that it felt like a smokescreen to me. It's just a smokescreen hire if it is Matt Nagy, because you had John Harbaugh and you made, comments saying, Titans, that is, we'll match whatever the price tag is for John Harbaugh. We're serious about adding the head coach to the future. Well, you didn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
You have Kevin Stefanski, who you ended up having to be your second go around of interviews, or you were scheduled to meet with them on a Tuesday. That didn't happen because guess what happened? Atlanta signed him to be their next head coach. You missed out on that opportunity. It feels like they're slow playing this too much.
Yep.
To where when you slow play it too much, you're going to miss out on the opportunity. And I think that's what they've done.
That's what I worry about this Sean McDermott thing. I think they're going to miss the train. I honestly don't think they're going to make a call and gauge his interest, because I think they're so set in their own ways that they're going to look at this 3 finalists and be like, yeah, we got to hire one of these 3 guys. No one else matters. Where I'm not saying go out and hire Sean McDermott immediately. I'm saying give him a call, gauge his interest. If he's not interested, then move on. If he is interested, at least bring him in for an interview, right? Like I don't think that's too much to ask.
I think it'd be a smart thing to do for the Titans, because look, you see this AFC South, Jacksonville got better. Houston, I don't know if you can say they got better or not. Obviously, they made it to the playoffs. They won a playoff game. That's great. But the concern around CJ Stroud after his 4 turnovers yesterday, it makes you wonder, is that the future? Is it not the future? I don't know. I still think he is the future of that franchise. Just had a rough game. They have
Yeah.
a really good defense. So you could say in that aspect, they got better.
He has declined since his rookie year.
That's true. There hasn't been improvement. There hasn't been growth.
Mhm.
You look at the Indianapolis Colts. You could say they went for it this year for sure. Go and grab Sauce Gardner at the deadline. They went for it. Grab Paul Phil off of retirement. That didn't work out well.
Paw Phil.
So you wonder if that can be an improvement for them. I think defensively they improved a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, this is a AFC South to where if you brought in a Sean McDermott, he probably would win. I don't know if he'd win to the nth degree of winning the division, but we'll see.
Craig on our text line says they need to stop dragging their feet. If you get McDermott in the building, don't let him leave without signing. If he's not interested, get on with it. I mean, absolutely. That's kind of what I've been saying is at least gauge his interest. At least see if he's interested. And if he's not, then move on with it. You've got your 3 finalists.
When Harbaugh became available, immediately the Giants said, "Oh, we're gonna chat with Harbaugh," and he went into the building. And what happened? He didn't leave until the name was on the dotted line. I still don't even know if the ink is dried yet on that. I'm not sure what that's all about. But again, same thing with McDermott. He's canned in Buffalo. No phone call yet. They haven't said, "Hey, we're adamant in signing the guy." Again, it's a part of their due diligence process. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. If you have the opportunity to sign a generational head coach, would you say generational?
McDermott?
Yeah.
He's a good head coach.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him in the ranks of
Top tier head coach?
I put him in the maybe not the upper echelon. I put him in like that second tier.
Okay.
Like I'd put him under Harbaugh and Andy Reid and I mean, do you want to throw Vrabel in there?
Yeah, I would.
Sean Payton.
Okay, so then he is a top tier coach then. After saying those names, I'd say he's a top tier.
I'd put him in the tier under that.
Oh, okay, I follow
Yeah.
you. Okay, then yeah.
Yeah.
You go grab him then. Then you give him a phone call and you grab him. That's simple as that.
Gauge is in. I'm just saying gauge his interest. Shoot him a text. Like, hey, you up? Something like that.
You available?
3280 says McCarthy is going to sign with us on Wednesday. I'm calling it. His interview with Pittsburgh is Thursday. Leverage interview. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
After hearing what Kaharski had to say, I feel like McCarthy might be dust in the wind at this point.
Look, McCarthy, after hearing that, saying that he's going to go possibly to Pittsburgh and have his interview on Thursday, again, that's the Titans' opportunity. If they know that's their coach of the future, they would sign him by now.
Yeah.
That's the issue I have with the Titans.
They're dragging it.
They are dragging it. If they know who their coach of the future is, stop with the due diligence. You have enough interviews. Go and sign the guy. Because the longer you wait, the worse it is because you don't have the definitive draft process ready to go. I think that shows a lack of direction a little bit.
He also says McCarthy is a top-tier coach. I mean, if he was a top-tier coach, wouldn't he be hired by now?
I mean, he has Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the resume.
Yeah.
We talked about this. You compare the resumes of Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh. They're very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both have a Super Bowl. Both have around the same career win percentage. I think John Harbaugh just has him by like a few games, but they're very similar. I think McCarthy's a good coach.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the safest hire you could possibly make.
It's fair.
And I wouldn't hate it. I'm just thinking, I'll say the word again. Gauge McDermott's interest. See what he's doing. Shoot him a DM. Just be like, what's up?
I wonder if, like you talk about the McCarthys, the McDermotts, I wonder how much, and maybe that played a factor into Harbaugh as well, how much they don't want to go up against the competition in the AFC South. Maybe they looked at the division they're in with the Giants as an easier division.
Which feels really weird to say for you, by the way.
Yeah.
The competition of the AFC South.
I know. Isn't that crazy? I mean,
it's a good division now.
It is. It really is.
Except for the Titans.
The Giants, I think, have the intangibles. I don't think as much as the Titans do, but have some core pieces so they can build around. And yet they're going up against the Commanders, who didn't have a good season this past year, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Those are three teams. I think Philadelphia you can split. I think it comes down to Harbaugh's veteran-esque head coaching that'll kind of split them between the top tier and the bottom tier in that division. So they probably get a upper hand on Dallas and then definitely Washington. So that's a division he thinks he can win. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he thought that you could do that with the Titans in the AFC South.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. One final segment for us here on this Reaction Monday here on Next Man Up. Coming up next, Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on 1025 The Game. Every time Parker Kelly produces us, this song just follows Nick Frazier around. It's your girl. Like how Sabrina is my girl.
It's America's girl.
Ella Langley is your girl.
It's America's girl. It's country music's queen right now.
I mean, I like this song.
Yeah.
The rest I could do without.
Do you remember that question from Chase and Big Joe about one song that would make you want to see a band in concert?
This one?
This is it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I got to thinking about that on my drive home. White Snake for Here I Go Again. There was another one. Zach Brown Band for Chicken Fried.
Hey.
Oh, that's a good one.
Great song.
What about Mr. Brightside, The Killers?
Oh, I mean,
I'd be in for that.
yeah. Which everyone would sing along. All white people there.
Everybody would.
Everyone would. Everyone knows that song.
It's a fantastic song.
Everyone knows that song. All right. So last segment here, kind of just wrapping things up around here. Want to tie up some loose ends here. Justin in Greenbrier on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Did anyone else want to tackle Ben Johnson last night and tell the kicker to take the field any of the times he told them to go for it? I am not even close to being a Bears fan, but for the love of all things sacred, stop going for it on fourth down. I mean, the conversation today on ESPN has been, should the Bears have gone for two and, gone for the 18-17 win?
Again, it's what is ultimately probably going to get Dan Campbell fired in Detroit, is going for it on fourth down a lot of the times. I think give Ben Johnson a pass here, man. There's
fourth quarter wizard.
Yeah. There's more opportunities for the Bears to be good.
to steal something from Parker Kelly, I think the cardiac Chicago Bears will be back in 2026.
In Avengers Doomsday.
And Avengers Doomsday as well.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
They'll be fine.
They'll be good. I mean, this is year one with Ben Johnson, and they look pretty good. I mean, that play last night is going to go down in history as one of the best fourth quarter plays of all time.
I think I can easily say this has been the best NFL postseason, in the best way to put it, playoffs. I mean, we've seen 2 overtime games this past weekend. In all aspects, now you have Bo Nix not going to play in the AFC Championship game because of a broken foot, getting surgery immediately. Jared Stidham going to be the next quarterback to step up in the occasion. Then they signed Ben DiNucci like the day after he was discussing it on CBS or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of funny. Ben DiNucci of all quarterbacks.
His tweet yesterday was fantastic. So was Nick Foles. Did you see Nick Foles?
I didn't.
Nick Foles said, just so you know, the Patriots struggle against backup quarterbacks in championship games.
That's good.
I mean, he would be the one of all quarterbacks to say that.
You know, the last time I think Denver was in an AFC Championship game was against the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
2015, 2016?
Got to go back to the Manning years.
Yeah, it was 2016.
Manning Brady.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the game he like threw for 400 yards passing, or is that a different year? I'm gonna have to double
That was
check
probably a different year because Manning's arm that last year in Denver was basically a noodle.
Yeah, I'll find it as we wrap up here. But there was a AFC Championship game where Manning threw like 400 passing yards.
I remember.
Holy cow!
I mean, just seeing the fact that we have the potential for a Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl game, it takes me back. I mean, it makes me think Marshawn Lynch should have ran the ball up the middle because they couldn't stop him that game, and then they throw it and Malcolm Butler intercepts it.
Yeah,
and then where did he end up? Right here in Tennessee. He was pretty good here.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, that's right. That was a 2015 Super Bowl where he had you're right, interception on the goal line. I mean, Malcolm Butler was all right. I wouldn't say he was
good. Logan Ryan was better.
Yeah.
That was when all the Patriots players started defecting from here and coming, or defecting from there, coming here.
Yeah.
And hence the dynasty killers.
It's true. I do want to ask you about this, and we kind of chatted in the break about college football and you could say the parody of it, but the college football playoff, how they want to continue to expand. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
If Miami ends up winning tonight, they would be the 10th seed to win it all. And again, if it was the playoff beforehand where it wasn't a 12-team playoff, they wouldn't have been in. You look at last season with Ohio State. They were at 8 seed, if I'm not mistaken on that.
Yes.
They would not have been in the original playoff format.
Right.
So every time this playoff continues to expand, it seems to be the higher seed, or I guess in the lower seed, ends up winning in the expanded format.
Well, last year it was the 7 and the 8 because Notre Dame was the 7.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it goes to show you, is college football trending in the right direction by continuing to expand it, or should they just call it quits at that 12 spot?
I would cut it off at the 12 because I think if you open the playoff up to more than half of your top 25 being able to compete for a national championship, then it's just too much.
Yeah.
It's like a participation trophy. But I was also the one advocating for them to stay at 4, and then they expanded to 12. And when they expanded to 12, I was like, well, it should have been 8. Now I'm okay with the 12. I like the 12. The 12 is good. We're good. Leave it where it is. It's like March Madness. We like the 68. Leave it where it is. It's good. Now, the Big Ten is trying to get a proposal going of expanding to a 24-team playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And the SEC has said, no, we're good with 12. So how much of that? I think you mentioned that there's like a deadline where they have to negotiate to expand to 16. And if they don't meet that deadline, then they'll just remain at 12 the next year.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. My computer just died on me. I was going to look that up. But yeah, there's a deadline somewhere down the line of that. If they don't come to an agreement, they have to continue with the same format, which I think is fine. The only tweak I would make to the format right now, keep it at 12, but then put a play-in game, like a wild card weekend, sort of like the NFL, because this is kind of going to an NFL format a little bit. You still have your G5 auto bid, and let that be like the 10th seed, I guess. And then your last seed or I guess the 12th seed would be a playing game for 13 and 14, right? Would that be right? Yeah. Your 13 and 14 team in the nation They go and have a wild card playing game for that last seed.
I would have just gone 8, no auto bids. Everyone play each other. Highest seed plays the lowest seed. And, not the NFL format, which works for them, but
Right.
just go straight bracket. The 1 will play the 8, the 2 will play the 7, the 3 will play the 6, the 4 will play the 5, and then bracket it. So you could have the 1 and the 4 in the national championship. You could have the 8 and the 7, hypothetically.
Yeah. I don't know. I look at the way the college football playoff committee, I guess, seeded these teams, because that first round matchup between A&M and Miami, there was a little something fishy to that. Everybody knew that Miami was a little bit better than a 10th seed team in the playoff.
Yeah, but that's how it worked out. We can play revisionist history and act like, Miami should have been ranked higher, but at the same time, Miami was on the bubble the entire season.
That's
once
true.
the playoff format started coming out. We didn't even think they were going to get in over Notre Dame, and then the committee finally decided to make the right decision. And of course, the committee has no backbone, so they refuse to explain why. So it is what it is.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. Looking at this current format, I would definitely put a wild card type vibe into this. Definitely just put a playing game. I mean, look, we all love college basketball. Everybody loves those bubble playing games, right? For the 16th seed. That's what makes March Madness great. I think this is something that would be added to the equation of college football. You put a number 12 seeded game as a playing game in for football purposes. This would be great.
A little bit of news coming out from the head coach carousel.
Oh,
not related to the Titans. Sorry to burst your bubble. The Ravens are bringing in Dolphins DC Anthony Weaver on Tuesday for a second interview for the head coaching job. That comes from Tom Pelissero. He is a former Baltimore player and assistant coach, and he's been a finalist for multiple head coaching jobs in the recent years. Ian Rappaport has since quote tweeted that and said the Steelers are also bringing in Weaver for an interview.
Again, defensive coordinator.
I just gravitate towards the defensive coaches and hire an offensive coordinator.
As the saying goes, defense wins championships. And those two franchises are franchises that don't hire often. And they want to make sure they get the right hire. And that's normally stemming from a defensive-minded coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the way to go. And if you're the Titans, dragging them into this conversation, you go defense. And it's Robert Saleh.
I mean, overall, both in college and the NFL, this has been the wildest year of coaching carousels that I have ever seen.
Absolutely.
I mean, in college, you had the Lane Kiffin and the James Franklin, and that whole situation is wild to me. Then in the NFL, you have the Ravens and the Steelers firing their coaches, and then the Bills fire this morning. You don't know who's going where. I mean, you kind of know, in the NFL, head coaches don't move a lot.
Yeah.
It's more, all right, if a guy is at a job, they're probably sticking there. If not, we'll get either an experienced guy that's been a head coach before and it's just sat a year, or we'll get the next up-and-coming offensive coordinator.
It's a calculated move.
Yeah. It doesn't move around a lot. But regardless, both of them have been wildly entertaining for me in multiple ways.
Yeah, multiple ways.
Multiple ways. I mean, this playoffs in general has been a fun time. Only a couple games were duds. Seahawks game was a dud.
Unfortunately.
There was another one that sucked. Give me a second. I'll come up with it.
It was Pittsburgh and Houston.
Yep, there it is. Texans and Steelers. But overall, I mean, you had 2 overtime games in the divisional round.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a very, very close championship weekend. It's going to be fun.
Tonight, who do you think wins?
Indiana by 10.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You have a score prediction?
Indiana 38-28.
Wow. I'm going to go Indiana. Ooh, close one. Let's go 31-27.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
It'd be fun.
I don't actually, but it would be a fun game.
Yeah. It'll be fun, man. 31-27, tight game. Indiana.
I just feel it in my heart that Indiana is going to cover. I think we know how it's going to play out. And I'm really excited to hear Fernando Mendoza's championship speech.
Oh, yeah. It'll probably be.
Because that boy's got something going on.
And he's a number 1 overall pick, essentially.
I mean, that boy, he's got something up with him.
It's been fun, man.
It has been fun. Pleasure doing business as always. Hopefully I'll see you Saturday. I'll probably sleep here as there's weather coming in, but it should be a fun night.
Indeed, it will.
It's been a pleasure. For Nick Frazier and Parker Kelly, my name is Connor Newt saying so long. Chasing Big Joe coming up next right here on 102.5 The Game.